I see the campaign lore sheet. I need to give this a look.
Real quick. Yeah, deeds are one of the things that we will be looking at today. For when you do awesome stuff and want to be rewarded for it, and get into the one of the cool parts of the system. So, I guess while we're waiting for Xander and Oren, we kind of need to start with you when we get into Magnificent Inc. itself, because at the beginning, for a couple reasons, we'll sort of have like everyone will sort of have their own thing to do at the beginning when they get the Magnificent Inc. to kind of get some stuff set up.
Sure.
Like Oren, for example, will end up checking in at a Eagle's Talon headquarters that's in that town, just to see. I mean, you guys have got a good amount of news, some of which may have reached out here before you guys got there. But in those cases, I guess for Magnificent Inc., and we'll also then be able to go back and look at what you all did with Tiger Shark and his people after you beat the crap out of them. When you get into Magnificent Inc., are you looking for employment fairly quickly, or is there a certain reason that you have gone, that this is the place you're coming back to?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like my home base city. I think, like, my mom's here. She runs, like, a fancy sort of tea house. So I think I was going to stop there and then try to find employment was my plan.
Okay. And what sort of employment would you be looking for?
I probably know of, like, a few reputable, like, pleasure houses in town. So maybe, like, station up with one of those, or who knows, maybe if my name has even spread enough, just try and insert myself, like, in the right social scenes, and then just try to naturally get employment. For, like, independent contracting, I guess you would call it. or no, not independent contracting. Just like self-employed.
Yeah, I mean,
no middleman. Yeah, like who know? Like I don't know if Plum Blossom is good enough to not need a middleman yet.
It can be useful sometimes to work for one of the pleasure houses and sort of build a clientele.
Yeah.
And then move forward. And one of the nice things is, due to the kind of massive structural shifts that have happened in the country over the past probably couple years, where equality's become a much bigger thing. The pleasure houses themselves are often kind of guarded by Resplendent Phoenix Society, and the women themselves are generally in charge of those. But you are aware that there are male courtesans, but not as many. Though it's actually becoming perhaps a little more. Do you want that something to be kind of more common, or do you want to be something that's fairly unique?
I want everyone, like anyone, to be able to pursue what they feel their calling in life is.
Okay. So it's one where there are more and more men who are joining these, and it's actually sort of changed how a lot of people look at it. And I'm not entirely sure, and it's something I'll make a note to look up, because I'm not entirely sure how that would have been perceived if those pleasure houses were something of rank, if they were kind of looked down upon. I don't know what that attitude would have been, but we are making it a better one than at least it would have been in the West.
Yeah. Let's see. Prostitution in China. Oh, this is all modern, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm about to say there's probably a lot of information on the modern.
Well, here's...
Because now in the West, one of those was it Adam Ruins Everything, was talking about how much power the brothels had in the West, or the Wild West, when that was going on.
Very Firefly.
Yeah, I mean, it came up with some of the same reasons. It's like there's not a lot of women, and it's a high demand, and because of that, and people would, not that violent stuff didn't happen, but they would, I guess they would often sort of be treated well because you don't want to be the person who kind of screws up. Like, if you get kicked out, you're out.
Yeah.
And you're in a place where mostly guys who have leaving society for whatever reason. So it was an interesting thing talking about like schools and stuff that got it started, and all these other things that were done with the sort of power that they had, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I imagine they have a fair amount of status because, like, whoever the ruler is probably has numerous consorts. Like, I think my mom was one of numerous consorts. And that's a way to just, like, gain more clout, is, like, climb the royal ladder through, if you catch the eye of the right person, and that person puts in the right words somewhere.
Okay, so...
Oh, hey, Xander.
Hello.
Why didn't I get the join notification? Weird. How you doing?
Cool. I entered as soon as you guys were talking about courtesans, and I was like, "Ooh, nice."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to switch over to headphones, so I can maybe turn you up a bit. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I've got you on 200%, Xander.
God, why am I? Ah.
It's fine. Now that I have you on 200%. A bit better.
A bit better.
Okay, noticeably better.
Okay.
Yeah, at first, Colton was coming through nice and loud, and you were barely audible.
You're okay now.
Cool.
It's all good. Okay, since we know that Oren will be a little bit, what then we can do is kind of start off with things the two of you are doing in town. First, as people sort of get there and you all get settled in, there'll be a little bit that, and then it'll introduce you to. There's a couple more rule things, and then what's going on in the city, and then be able to cut everybody loose into the things that y'all want to follow.
Cool.
So, there are one of the nice things about being a courtesan in Magnificent Inc. is there's a large amount of sort of nobility in this area. A lot of like higher ranking ministers and such retire here, which means they kind of bring old grudges, bring new ones coming in. There's all this sort of there's a lot of money in the right portions of Magnificent Inc. And there are several of the pleasure houses kind of cater mostly to the fairly well off. Were you looking for one of those?
Yes.
Okay. Let me do something real quick. Let's see if I find the name of a famous Chinese pleasure house. Maybe an ancient one. Get a cool name. An article called "Between Prostitution and Poets in Ancient China."
Ooh.
I'm cool with prostitution, but their slam poetry. I ain't handling this.
I may or may not have poetry prepared. Not that I've written, but poetry I like, prepared for when I need to bust out a poem.
Alright, looks like this is poetry time. I summon my inner chi.
God.
And then go to it.
Yeah. I've got some ideas for how to use that performance stat. That's my less extra one.
not quite so much.
Oh, I'll wait for the moment to see if I can pull it off, what I'm really thinking.
Okay, there is one that you know that actually, the kind of clientele you're looking to cultivate that would allow you to kind of work on your own. There is the House of the Blue Orchid. And the House of the Blue Orchid is located in, essentially, the Magnificent Inc. has got a large kind of rectangle that is with a decent chunk of the city that is completely surrounded by a river. And a couple rivers meet, and there's this giant sort of rectangle, and you've got the canals and such going through. And then there is parts of the city that kind of branch off of that. Because it's the much more beautiful area of the city, a lot of the really rich people want to live in the places with all the canals and other things, because it's beautiful. House of the Blue Orchid is set up actually not too far from like a prestigious university as well. It's a place where a lot of the sort of more sagey. There is a word that's sagacious or something like that. I have no idea how it's pronounced. I've seen it in books. But as far as you know, that's probably a fairly good place. And as I recall, one of the things with your character is you were uncommonly beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you also, you kind of know what you got. And that's not a bad place to necessarily go and try to find employment, because that will probably get you closer to independence, and you are aware of a number of sort of the most respected courtesans have come through. There is actually sort of a bit of pride on those who have become independent from there. And they often sort of give back and are part of it. Like it's got like its own sort of fraternity, sorority aspect to it.
Cool. Yeah, that definitely sounds like something I go for then.
Okay. So the House of the Blue Orchid, as you enter, there is lots of you've got like lots of sort of semi-private sitting areas. People sit and talk. You've got wine and tea and such being served. As people are going through, you notice a number of eyes kind of come on you fairly quickly. How much do you look? Do you look like you might be nobility as far as how you are dressed? Are you dressed as a member of the Wulin? Are you dressed as sort of a regular folk?
So I said in the last session, and I think this is like still true, is like he looks like he's got money. Like I don't know about nobility. Maybe like for people really in the know in the courts, the one standout noble mark he has is a fancy hairpin that was like an heirloom that he was given. But that's the only mark specifically of his nobility. Otherwise, he's wearing, expensive silks. Fine robe, nice sash. Like, he looks like he's well off at the very least.
Okay. You as you sort of come in, there's a few people that sort of are looking around, and there's a woman who walks towards you. What she's wearing is sort of very subtly cut. While it looks like the kind of thing you might see someone around here wearing, something that's sort of dressed to impress that looks fancy. As you sort of look it over, it's very subtly cut to allow a wider range of movement than perhaps a regular person needs. Very quickly, you're like, she's probably one of the guards here, or someone who sort of helps make sure things are okay. And she comes up and sort of takes a look at you. She's like, "I'd recognize a face like yours in here before. I don't believe I've seen you."
I flash her a gentle smile and give her a bow. Plum blossom illuminated by the full moon, at your service.
Benevolent Lynn.
It's nice to make your acquaintance. How can I assist you?
And she sort of looks you over. She's like, "Are you looking for entertainment this evening? I might be able to point some out." But and she's, are you there? There are ways. I'm going to use this as a general way of thing. There are ways that like Wulin can often recognize each other, just in movements like that. It's possible to hide that. And it'll generally be a thing where, like, if we bring it up, it's like, were you trying to hide it? Then you could make like a stealth roll for it if you wanted to hide it. It's a thing that most, like, a regular person's not going to see. But there's a control that the Wulin have that if they're looking out for it, and you almost always are, you'll see it. So are you hiding that fact as you come in, or are you?
I'm doing the opposite. I'm flaunting it.
Excellent. And she kind of looks over you, then she's also got that, and she doesn't make a big sort of show of it, but she brings right fist into left palm, and then that very tiny bow.
And I return it.
Yeah, the greeting of the Wulin, and she smiles, and she's. And remind me what you said when she asked if you were looking for entertainment or for something else.
We went into this description first.
Oh,
I flash her a big grin and say, "Oh, my apologies for the misunderstanding. I am the entertainment."
She smiles back at that. She's like, "It would be a difficult thing to do, considering we have quite a few people here who are rather content with the entertainment they have. I take it you're looking for work?"
Of course, but I take out a fan, start lazily fanning myself. It's only hard for those who don't have the discipline.
She smiles. We insist here upon the strictest and tightest of disciplines.
Naturally.
So, and this is something I think you actually know a little bit more than I personally do, but I know, like, often with this are things like tea ceremony, or that's more Japanese, isn't it? Like those tea houses.
I don't know if there's Chinese.
Tea is hugely important and it has a lot of ritual to it in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has the specific tea rituals that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Chinese tea culture refers to how tea is prepared, as well as occasions when people consume tea. It appears that there is at least some form, or like there's some traditions based around it.
Okay. So, what we're going to be doing here is, and this I'll be popping over to Xander here shortly, because what I'll end up doing is sort of weaving these scenes together, as we're getting into some of the mechanical stuff. What we're kind of have here is the kung fu sizing each other up in a friendly and that sort of manner of friendly competition to sort of see abilities. And she smiles at you. She's like, "Well, I suppose if you're interested in that, I should see how you are making people comfortable. Come with me."
I would like nothing better.
And at that point, she actually, let me move this over here. She takes you out to there's a small area outside of.
I forgot about the Dynasty Warriors. Sorry. The Dynasty Warriors graphic. I totally forgot about it when we turned it. She was like, "Ah, that horse is a lot."
Yeah. So is that actually from Dynasty Warriors?
It looks extremely Dynasty Warriors. I would guess that's what it is.
Yeah, it's one as I looked up trying to find some stuff that seemed a little more sort of its time.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the same general thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as she comes out and then she talks to someone briefly, and you're out in this garden that's sort of in between where the buildings come together. On one side you have part of the canal coming through, so there's you've got the fresh air coming off of the water, as well as the smell of the blossoms and such in the air. And she also looks at you. Have you been in? You spent a lot of your life in Magnificent Inc. So
yeah.
Has it been a while since you've been back, or?
I think I was last back here 6 months ago.
Okay. So at this point, she has brought out some of the tea and the rest, and looks and goes, "So, imagine I am someone nervous to be here. I've just entered. I have not, as of yet, been opened up to the sort of world that this is a part of. How might you make me comfortable? How might you put me at ease?"
I think I walk very relaxed, towards her, but not directly. A little bit to the side, behind her to the seat, and I lean down, give it a perfunctory sweep the dust off, and my silks, I trail them over it, and just the gesture is inviting. Please take a seat, but without any words needing to be said.
Okay. So because we'll get into a little bit of the not necessarily combat as much, but just some of the things. And this is when you have an opportunity for these, because you can build up the river to do awesome things, whether it's combat or not. I would go ahead and make your probably perform would be the right one here. Perform or finesse.
Let's see. Let me just take a quick look at my character sheet. We did decide to put courtesanal arts and inspire.
Oh, inspire. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that absolutely works.
All right, cool. Let me go ahead and roll that. All right, got a pair of 6s, and then I've got 10 in inspire plus a specialty in courtesanal arts, which is an additional 5, I believe.
Okay. So, yeah, so that gives you a 15 or a plus 15.
Yeah, plus 15, so 41.
Okay. Yeah, so with 41 is just to kind of. Oh, let me pull up the difficulty thing real quick.
Oh, and should I
41 is memorable.
do I store anything? Can I use the river now for later scenes, or no? At the end of every scene, it gets washed.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I mean, this scene is going to cut back and forth a couple times. You'll have an opportunity. If you have sets, you could put you could go with the 18, and then usually say the 8, and then add the 15 to that, so that'd be what 33. So 33 is hard because basically it's every 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, then 60, 80, 100. So 30 would be a hard, it's accessible hard. Memorable would be above a 40. So in this case, how do you want to keep those 6s for other stuff coming up, or do you want to?
First impressions are important.
Okay.
So I'm going to spend the 6s, but I'll save the 7 and the 8. Oh no, you can only put stuff in the river if it's a set.
Yeah. You can only put parts of a set, part or all of a set.
Then maybe I will save those 6s. So I'll go ahead and save those 2 6s, and I'll use, like you suggested, the 18 for total 33.
And she kind of inclines her head as you come out, and just really smooth, and everything about you is essentially welcoming, someone making them feel at ease. Very good. And then she turns, the tea is brought out and set on a small table sort of between you. And at that point she comes and she sits sort of across from you. She goes, so, you've set the scene, but you've not yet bagged me. And then her hands kind of spread out from the tea and such in front of her.
Sorry, I've not yet what you?
Bagged me.
No, bagged you. Okay.
I'm comfortable. I'm not yet open to all of what you have to give me.
One of the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, then she kind of spreads her hand out for the tea, which is often a ceremonial way of relaxing and such as well.
Yeah, and I think, it's a very similar thing in terms of the movement, just very slow but precise. Pouring the tea so that there's an audible noise to it, like the pleasant noise of water running into water, but not a drop spilling out, minimal bubbles forming in the pour, the flasher, a wide grin, almost like I'm about to hold back a laugh and say, patience was one of the first virtues I learned when I was training for this, and anything worth having is worth working up towards. If I opened you suddenly, you would close just as quickly. And then, is that another roll?
Yeah, so it's...
Okay.
So basically how much you're impressing her here, and then this will...
Hello! How's it going, Oren?
Just fine.
What up?
Cool. I'm pouring tea. Oh my god, I could do something really extra here. I rolled a pair of 6s, and I already have 2 6s in my river. So I could get a 61 on her right now.
Yep, if you do that, you're not going to be able to put those ones into your river, because you have to put them in, you can wash out everything, get rid of it, then you can put stuff in your river, and then you can use what you've got. So yeah, if you want to just awesome.
Well, no, I'll save the 2 6s in my river and use these 2 6s here.
Okay.
And that's still more than the previous time, so still working up.
Okay, so that gives you still what, like a 43 or something?
15 plus 26, 41.
41. Again, just absolutely killing it as you're pouring the pouring the tea in there, and then she sort of gives you a look. She's like, I found when I've closed suddenly, I've received not a complaint.
Why do you think that is?
She smiles, and then we're gonna cut. Actually, why don't we do this real quick? So we can kind of since we got all of us together now, we can kind of pop back to what happened. Then we'll get Xander and Orin into what they're doing in the city.
Cool.
After you all beat the living crap out of Tiger Shark and the members of the Black Lotus in that small town on your way back to Magnificent Inc., what did you do? So you had I think we ended pretty much. You had defeated them. You now had like groaning, unconscious Black Lotus all over that particular inn. Like a few had fled, I believe. Was there anything you were doing specifically there, or just running them out of town, or anything more specific?
I kind of want to kill him.
What?
I've got no opinion on that either way.
Now, we've taught the man his lesson, and I'm sure he understands that if he ever tries something like this again, he will face consequences. But everyone deserves a chance to learn, no? Well, I say that and put a finger to my lips, and like, how much did people get hurt? How much is owed? And like, is anyone here like speaking up? Like,
I think she's. Well, no, I don't think anyone was hurt, was they?
I don't think you guys got
like,
touched at all.
Yeah.
well, I'm wondering if like before we got there, did they like?
So yeah, at that point you got the owner of the inn. It's like threw a few people out, but nobody here was hurt. And the weird thing is this is. The Black Lotus is generally fairly. I mean, they can be a big problem, but they're not usually this like above board on the stuff. I mean, like this feels a little out of character for them. I mean, it could be someone who just got kind of a head full of stupid. The chances of him having gotten the news of because like one thing you know is going to happen. The kind of the realm of the Wulin is going to be thrown into chaos once they find that Gallant Eagle is leaving, simply because at that point pretty much every single organization is going to be an individual, a lot of them are going to be trying to show enough strength to be able to have someone take over. Because like for example, on the off chance, and the thing is if the Black Lotus actually tried to take his place, the entirety of the Orthodox and the Pillars would turn against them. The chances of Gallant Eagle accepting a Black Lotus is almost impossible. But it seems like it'd be fairly quickly because you all have just recently left from there as well. You've been traveling a little bit of time, but someone would have had to either been using a good deal of Lightfoot to get there or taken horses, and you weren't aware of any in this general direction when you left. So Now he basically will have like right before the kind of campaign started, he had the announcement where because I think we mentioned the last time with all the people having shown up. Weird thing. So I started reading the book Fox Volant in the Snow or something, which is considered like a very good wuxia novel. That's actually Chinese, and it actually begins with a group of martial heroes returning after having gone to a meet where essentially watching a member of this other organization leave the Wulin.
I see.
I was like, that sounds familiar.
Huh.
But you do know that like I said, a lot of different organizations are going to be kind of at each other's throats and trying to show their strength. But this seems like, one, not the way the Black Lotus would do it, and two, they probably don't know about it yet. Like, this is unusual.
He's unconscious, right?
Well, we'll say he's sort of coming out of it. Like he's at the point where if you like throw some wine in his face, Tiger Shark will probably wake up.
Because I have a theory, and is this guy just bragging that he's Black Lotus, but isn't really?
You can find out.
Yeah. I think she kicks him instead of throws water. Just kicks him real fucking hard.
No more. You've won. You've beaten all of us. There's no part. He just kind of like looks up and it's like the three of you are probably standing over him and just starts to cry.
She slowly squats down, like so she's near the same height as him, and says, "What is the Black Lotus doing round here?"
We're just patrolling and gathering some payments and I just thought we could blow off some steam. Nothing, just we didn't hurt anybody. We didn't kill anyone.
She looks at the other two, like, with an expression on her face, like, are all Black Lotus this buffoonery? Like, are they all buffoons like this? She's so unimpressed.
I'm like cleaning my fingernails. And like I look down, I'm like, have you learned your lesson or not?
I have. I'm sorry.
Don't be an asshole, that's the lesson.
Okay. So what I want to show you right now, and this may come up again, like at the end of a battle, what happens is essentially you roll any ripples you have against, and the person who put them on you can, or the group in this case, can decide on what your chi condition is. So for him, he gets to roll his his 2d10 for his chi aura, essentially to see.
Didn't we
which is
ripple
probably,
the fuck out of him?
Oh yeah, you're gonna be rolling 8 dice.
He
It's
Ripley.
basically, yeah, because he can't get rippling rolls because he's a lesser legend. He just essentially the ripples become hit points for him. But I'll just show you how this works because it doesn't have to be what you don't have to put injury conditions on them. Because I'll suggest something you can go with. So if one of you wants to whoever wants to roll 8d10.
I should actually go into Roll20.
Orin, would you like to do the honors?
Sure.
I think you're the one you fucked up the most people. I think you deserve this.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this group? Oh, I just kind of beat the living hell out of people. Yeah, his toughness is 0 from Murderous Shadow, so he gets no bonus there. So the most he's got, he has a 6. He has a 17. You get to roll that, and in this case, which of you has who did damage? Or probably, I'm guessing, Orin, you probably did the most damage to him. Like, what's your damage?
Oh, what's my damage? Let's go 5.
I think
you have +5.
So +5.
I think,
It's
but
higher than that.
oh no! Maybe I forgot about your sword hands.
Sword hands.
Hey, man, do we not like pin the document that had the chart in it?
Here, I have the link. I have the
Please
link.
shoot that over to me again because I constantly lose.
get shareable link. Anyone's link can now view. Oh, I don't know, since I don't own it, I can't.
Oh, then let me... Oh, wait, is it pinned?
Oh, no. Anyone with the... Yeah, because you own it, I can't.
Oh, then let me put the thing, it should be...
It's not pinned in Discord, just the Secret Art tutorial. We might want to pin the Monday Night Game folder link.
Yeah. Let me do that real quick. Shareable link. Oh, nope, that's right. Okay, it started off saying edit, and then it switched to shared. Let me change that. Okay, edit. Copy link. Okay, that is shared, and I'm going to pin it.
Thank you. There it is.
There we go. Yeah, I believe my damage is 10 because I have sword hands.
Yeah, it's
God!
So with what he has with his toughness and the chi, he has a 17 total. You got 2 7s plus your 27 plus what else?
You get 10 from sword hands.
So yeah, that's what 37
Sounds about right.
against a 17. So you got 20. Now his chi threshold. So what happens in here is you put a condition on it, and this condition, he's got a chi of 10. Just a basic sort of starting chi, which means his chi threshold is 10. It's greater than his chi threshold, which means it's a minor. It's not quite greater than double his chi, which would have been a major, but you can put a minor condition on Tiger Shark, which it can be anything from, I mean, if you want to have like broken leg where he has like a breath penalty or an action negative or a like a cultivation or experience negative on him, you can do those. Or it could also be something like he's rethinking his life and maybe gets like either a carrot or a stick when he is deciding to do something different with his life or something along those lines, because it doesn't have to be just wounds.
Yeah, I was thinking of something on the lines of like any time that he thinks about harming an innocent person or like committing an act like this again, he can feel just basically us kicking the crap out of him interiorly.
Okay.
So it's kind of more like a stick against negative actions that may cause him to rethink his life.
Okay. Do you want to make that just a straight up action weakness so that he gets off, like he loses with a minor one, he'd lose 5 points on any die roll to harm innocence?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so I can put fear of justice. We'll call it that. What was your roll total? Minor action penalty when
37.
When harming innocence, and somehow. So he's essentially got like a 37 on there becomes his. If he tries to end up breaking that, he has to sort of roll above a 37, and most of them, I'm gonna have to double check what this is real quick. I got it maybe here on the thing. You can choose where it's like he only has to succeed once, but he can only roll once a story, or he has to succeed like 5 times, but they can roll like every scene.
I think it's more like a roll 5 times kind of thing.
Okay, but it's something that would go away real. Basically, do you want it to last a long time, or do you want it to last?
Oh, I do want it to last a long time. I'm going to put the fear of God in this man.
God being you with your sword hands.
Here I come to beat the crap out of you. So yeah, if you want it to be a long time, you can do like he'd only have to beat it once, but it would be once per story is not just in a single session, but over like a course of several sessions. Like once the major storyline is played out, you have a story done, and then those things can be checked to see if you can get rid of them.
Yeah, then the once per story.
Okay. So yeah, then I will make a note. So on a if Tiger Shark shows up again, particularly if he shows up again in this part of the story before like major things have happened, he now has it where we're from a non 37 once per story. He only has to do it. He only has to do one, beat it once. So he's essentially from an out of mechanics thing. He's sort of rethinking his life and remembering this beating as he's going around doing the things he's doing. So it may become something where he ends up changing what he is because of that. If you run into him again, it's possible. In particular, it's probably a little easier for Plum Blossom to do it, though other ones could as well in different ways. It's possible to actually inflame that up to like a major, where with a major it would then be a -10 anytime, which is essentially like removing a die. Anytime he tries to do that.
Could we, like, in theory, hit this guy with so many conditions that he just eventually, like, heel face turns and joins us?
Yeah.
I love Lucia.
Yeah. The thing is it's basically if you get it up to a major, I mean, because it'll be if it's someone who is very, very stuck in their ways, it becomes a little harder because it wouldn't make as much sense. So you have a negative when you're doing it. For this one, actually let me do something because since you did kick the shit out of him, I had him crying. It makes some sense. I'm going to give you a bonus, so he'd have to get above a 47, which is unlikely to get rid of it. So like the chances of him inflaming that kind of by himself are pretty good. But yeah, you definitely have an opportunity to turn enemies into friends that way. So someone can kind of put that. I need to fight. 188. Someone can kind of put that doubt inside of someone, and mechanically it shows up in that way. And then out of the mechanics, the NPC is now much more like a little worried about it. What's going on?
So you're telling me in maximized theory that we could like shonen jump protagonist our way into gaining new allies by kicking the crap out of them hard enough.
Yeah.
Even we could make a Naruto Wuxia.
Well, like, because Wuxia's, a lot of it is about communication through violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in particular, the way it works, I mean, on the one hand, Pale Orchid, because you're a priest, you might be able to do it by essentially putting a curse on someone so the world itself seems to be working either for or against them when they are doing the thing you don't want them to do. Plum Blossom can sort of do the same thing by essentially taking personality like strengths or weaknesses and putting those things into someone's head. I think inspirations and passions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where I think also, depending on some of your stats, you may have access to some of the basics of them. Like if you've got like Inspire at a 5, you've got like the basic where you can kind of discover them, but you don't have the stuff to inflame them until you spend points on them. And then if you get kind of more into it, there's even more difficult thing. Like even like you can have someone where they have both a weakness and like a weakness and a hyperactivity. So like you could have a thing where if you had that, you could go, okay, he gets a +5 when he's doing something to redeem himself, but a -5 when he's doing something against innocence. Or a breath bonus, or more cultivation, or something along those lines. Those all can be things that mechanically you can do in the game.
Dope.
Okay, yeah, so again, at that point...
I'll leave that to you two. I'll just keep putting ripples on people.
I'm going to punch him till he likes me. But yeah, so at that point, you kind of see... I'm sorry, this was dumb. This was not... It will never happen again, I swear. And he looks up and he looks more pathetic than you would ever want to see yourself, for damn sure.
Plum Blossom is expertly hiding a grimace and just like turns away and starts walking out and like maybe offers to help like just starts setting up chairs and tables.
God, yeah, I think she's like, after everyone's walked out, she just stares at him for like a little bit too long and then just walks out.
This is my I'm disappointed in you stare. I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. And Lone Sparrow?
Probably just back to guard duty, just behind Plum.
Okay. So yeah, you're given a free room for the night if you all want to take it. Before heading on, then is free drinks is like basically once they get up, he actually on sort of hands and knees goes around and like he's waking up the other members of the who are not out of it completely. As I recall, weren't two people kicked into the river or into the lake and were trying to swim away?
What? Oh, the enemies, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sort of look at it, you just see two people in black like running into the distance. But he goes around, he's like slapping people awake, and he's like, "Help them, get the stuff up!" And like they're all sort of putting the things back in order. And the girl who ended up drenched in the lake, that Lone Sparrow magicked, basically moved like stupid fast to get her out of, is like going around and started hitting them. And they're sort of taking it, and they're getting hit and then kind of looking at the three of you and then taking the hits as they're sort of helping get things sort of put back in order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I'm just like making small talk around, just like trying to like, all right, crisis over. Like, let's all just have a good time. Like, we're all people together here. Let's just enjoy ourselves.
I can't remember. Did I tell you what happened at Fear the Con with Tiger Shark and what people still say to me at Fear
No.
the Con?
Didn't they kick him up and down the flight of stairs a couple times?
Right.
There was that as well, but he's like, I am Tiger Shark, and Mikey Mason just goes, Tiger Shark. Ooh! So every time he would say his name, and they would all the entire group would just go, Tiger Shark! Ooh! And just embarrassing it the whole time. So, like, when I'm at Fear the Con, people will sometimes just kind of walk by me and say that. If they were part of the game.
Love it. This is more like, Tiger Shark, you poor pathetic thing.
I like using him as a, like, oh, he sounds a little ridiculous. This is how you learn how to fight. Okay, yeah, so you get all that stuff done, and then the next day you're back on your way to Magnificent Inc.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some water, so I'm gonna be behind Plum if that's important.
Okay, well, hold on a second. So, Pale Orchid.
Mm-hmm.
You've traveled with them to Magnificent Inc.
Yes.
Do you have any particular business of yourself there? I mean, one of the things is it's a place with a lot of stages, so if you haven't thought of something, information on your uncle or the sword is probably somewhere here in town.
Are there any, like, I don't know if it's a temple or anything like that, but like places for like sages and like I'm terrible with words. What am I again? Priest, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Like
it's basically like
for that.
Yeah, the Magnificent Inc. itself is got two sort of major classes of people besides your standard commoners are probably not the right word there, but outside the standard regular folk, you have a good deal of ministers and sort of like the equivalent of nobility and such that retire there because it's such a beautiful area, which means there's lots of intrigue going along. You also have like universities. You've got a lot of sages from this area. So there are centers of learning here. There are like universities. There are great and sort of intelligent masters and such, both from within the Wulin and without, who have come to Magnificent Inc. I mean, if there's a place you want to go to learn something outside of kind of the Forbidden City, the Royal City itself, this is the place to come.
Okay. Is there like any? Am I gonna have to like go to like small places, like lots of freaking like small areas, or is like a big place? Should I go to like the university? Is that a good place to start? Or
There's a number of places you can look. It may take you a little bit to find someone. Like, what particular information are you trying to find?
I think she wants to start with looking at stuff about weapons and curses, or like blessings, like
Okay.
the magic around weapons.
Okay. So it's gonna like you end up like asking a few places and then going to a few because at this point you're probably all going to meet up a little later that evening in the wherever you're staying. So one of the things is just asking around because there's so many scholars of different types. Actually, trying to find the one that you or the ones that can be useful to you.
Yeah.
It's going to going to take a little bit of time to go and talk to folk. So you're sort of searching and you've been asking, and there's at one point you notice and you almost have a feeling the person's not trying to hide. And this is why I can't remember if you were here yet when we mentioned this with Colton. Essentially, members of the Wulin, if you want to try to hide the fact that you are Wulin, yeah. So, but you see someone like fairly tall, has a hood up over, but you see like some. As he's sort of looking out at you, but he's been following you kind of for a little bit.
Okay.
And he kind of caught you in one of the crowds as you're kind of going through. There's a moment you look back and you've noticed him a few times. He does not particularly seem to be hiding, but you're pretty positive he's following where you're going.
Do I like you said? Like, can I detect specific things about like, or am I just certain that he's from the Wulin? I'm not certain.
He moves like he moves like someone from the Wulin. Outside of specific things like that. Actually, make a what's the awareness?
I think the priest used the Wu Wei on that, which is like the art of detecting things people don't want you to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a Wu Wei roll.
So hold on. How do I roll skills? Because I've only rolled.
So
like,
no, you roll the same thing. So just go ahead and hit the R4.
Yeah.
So it all works the same.
Okay. So 2 2s. Where the fuck are my stats?
So you have a 22, or you could use the 19 if you wanted to put the 2s into a river.
That's true. I won't do any river stuff yet. Okay. And my Wu Wei
especially
is
since
10.
you still got 8s in the river.
Aren't they washed
away?
away?
No, those all go away.
Yeah, I think I can't edit the sheet. I don't think.
Oh, did you click the one that I just put in there a moment ago? Because that should be for editing.
I can request edit access.
Let me do a share with edit. Oh, the wrong thing of the actual sheet itself. Because it might be a thing. Because I would love you guys to be able to edit anything in that folder. I will put one specifically for that sheet. Okay, so for editing the sheet, I just put that into Discord.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So if I use 2 then plus 10 Wu Wei. Is there anything else added to that, or is it just those things?
It would just be those things.
Okay.
So 32.
32. I don't know the frame of reference if that's good or not.
Okay. Well, for him it depends on what he can roll against you, but a 32 is generally considered a hard rank.
Okay.
So you've got like trivial is a 10, because trivial is almost no reason to roll for you because it's 10. Yeah. Moderate is 20, and that's also pretty simple. Hard is 30, memorable is 40, okay. Then fantastic is 60.
Okay.
Yeah, you sort of try to get a look like maybe what's under the hood. What was your total again?
32.
32. But you can't. Somebody uses 3 1s.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm gonna do this real quick.
Do they have sneak at all?
Yeah, you're not quite able to get a good look at his face or anything underneath it. And it's like he's specifically trying to hide that. Now you do know that there are sometimes people will have if it's a Wulin with example with elemental with some sort of elemental chi.
Oh, is he red?
They're often things that might show the chi in particular. He could also just be trying to hide his face.
Yeah.
So you're not quite sure. So like those are the two things that would immediately probably come to mind. But yeah, you can't quite see, and as you sort of take that look, he cocks his head a little bit, and you can kind of see a smile on the face as he speeds up ever so slightly, coming towards you.
Are we in a very crowded place, or at the very least
yes.
populated?
Yeah, you're sort of going through a marketplace towards where there's a bunch of like students and such coming through on its way to where several of the different sages and such are.
By the way, I found a picture, and I'm like, I really want this to be my character, but it's too extra. I love the hats so much. Let me find it. There.
I'm cool with
I want that hat so badly.
Wait, what's too extra? That's awesome.
Please, have you listened to my character yet?
That is awesome.
That's actually, like, I love this outfit so much it hurts.
That's about correct.
Be that.
She has the hat, but without the flowery bit on the side.
Okay.
I mean,
She
I
used
already
to have
picked a
that
guy
when she
with.
wasn't fucking homeless.
I picked a man with golden tailcoat with shoulder arm metal things.
Oh god, right! That rules too!
Oh my god, that's so good. Cool.
I remember hearing things like karate was like do something and be effective at it. Kung Fu was do it and look fucking awesome.
Yeah, then she's just gonna stop and turn around and just look at them.
And he smiles and walks kind of up within about 5 feet of you if you let him.
Yeah.
And looks and he raises his head. You see like a shock of red hair, and you can kind of see a little bit of flame just sort of sparking between them on occasion. And he kind of looks over at you and is like, not seen that sword in a very long time.
She frowns and says, what do you know about this? She wiggles it.
And he smiles. Do we ever come up with a name for your uncle?
No.
Okay. We should maybe do that.
Do you have
I'm sure
a
he
name
will.
generator?
I grabbed a bunch of Wushin names from some online stuff, and including some stuff from some other. It's actually in that folder. I put some of them down there. I do want to look for others. So if you happen to see one in the Wuxia names you like, or we can come up with something else. There are some Wuxia generators. I wasn't hugely happy with them, so most of these are actually from Wuxia novels.
Let me have it. I kind of like Grievous Distant.
So Grievous Distance?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fucking ominous as shit!
Yeah, right.
That's like a Jade Empire bad guy named Level Blatant.
Was that on that list, or is that
It was on
something
the Steam community list.
Okay, we got it. I don't think I actually put that in the one I got. So Grievous Distance?
Do you also have forearms?
Let me format. Let me do it this way. Okay, I will make that note on the campaign notes. I once fought beside the holder of that sword. Grievous distance. And he sort of looks you over. Now, what I'm going to do here, and this is something in particular like Colton can do, you can also do as well. And it's with Xander would, or Oren would be able to do with some of, especially if you open up a couple of the other secret arts. So for him, so I roll for him. So he's doing a couple things here. What he's trying to do is he's trying to essentially do a courtier, like a secret art attack on you.
Nice.
He's doing two things. He's trying to make it stealthy. So on that one, I'll just make a note in the chat. So the stealth here is a... Oh, shoot. Pull that out real quick to remind myself. It's inspire for the courier. So, 27 plus 15, so if you want to notice he's doing it, now you still make the roll to defend regardless. But this is if your character from an in-character point of view understands this is what's been happening. He's going to use 2 of the 8s he put on his river last time. And this attack is not to do like damage, but he's essentially going to try to put it. And I will let you know the cheat condition might end up being something you kind of want from an in-character point of view, or from an out-of-character point of view. So the essential attack he's doing be 38 plus the inspire, 48, 53.
Damn, this guy's gonna wreck me.
He's a rank above you.
Oh.
And the one you can tell is when he's got like the fire going through the hair and such, it means that he has got a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Like if it's someone with like a little bit, like you'll see maybe just like a little wisps here and there. The more they have, the more blatant it becomes.
God, I need to build some fire chi. That's dope.
So if you want to go ahead and make your roll for defense.
So what am I rolling?
And also, if you want, you can put some towards a minor action towards the stealth to see do you notice it, and then the other one can be towards the sort of attack itself.
Cool. So what am I adding up here? So I've rolled the R4, but what am I defending with?
Okay, so it's a courtier attack, and then I'll continue with what he's actually saying here in a moment, because some of it will depend on how well we do here. So, a defense against the courtier art is confidence.
Confidence. Cool. Do I have confidence? I do. I have 5, but I don't think I'm going to beat him. I have 27 plus 5. So no.
Okay. So I'll continue with essentially what he's going to say to you as this begins.
Okay.
And we'll tell you in a moment. So do me a favor. So you've got like just a 27.
Yeah, 2 7s
to defend,
and a 5 plus 5. So.
Oh, okay, so 32. So he won by 21 there.
Jesus.
So and that point when he looks you over, he's like, "You have his eyes. Matter of fact, I can see in his eyes the same sort of hunger, same darkness that was within him." Sort of smiles.
God, she's glaring at this asshole.
Have you come here to cause some chaos? Oh, that reminded me. That actually would be another possible bonus for you, or bonus or negative.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing with you, and this is like Colton in particular, this is one when we go through, we'll take a look at it if you want to use them. So what he's doing is he's going towards your ruthlessness. Now you have a 1 in ruthlessness.
Yes.
Which actually means he does not get a bonus. If it was higher, he would have a bit more on there. But I also think for the thing that you're looking for to make, because you want this to be a part of it, to a degree that there needs to be a little bit of desire to use it. So I'm going to be giving you a carrot
Yeah.
with this one. And someone who will kind of see again. He's like, you kind of had the same look in his eyes that he often had. Are you here to cause chaos?
She glares, but she shakes her head and says, "It's not your business." But no, I'm not.
I think we'll meet again. That's my guess. He looks you over and he goes, as a matter of fact, I believe you may find you're more like him than you think. I can recognize these things. A bit of advice. Life in this town is about to become a whole lot more interesting. Stick around. A lot's going to be happening. So, for what you can do here is, what I'm going to do here is kind of put that sliver in your heart that maybe part of you is like is maybe like your uncle, because I mean you do have his sword now.
Yes.
Sword acquires it. So I personally I want to give you a carrot to use that sword. Now, normally a critical success, which is succeeding by more than 10, is a minor weakness or a trivial hyperactivity, but he's got one that actually lets him bring that up.
So you're giving me a major?
No. Because if he is a major, it'd be a weakness. I want to give you a hyperactivity, which is a bonus.
Okay.
He actually wants to give you, it's a chi condition that will be called Legacy of Blood.
Okay.
And right now it's a minor hyperactivity action bonus, which gives you a +5 whenever you sort of open yourself up to that more brutal side of the sword.
So hold on, where should I write that?
So if you just want to put it with your... You've got a couple other cheat conditions on there. So you can make a note. This one has what's called duration of 1, interval 1 story, which means you only have to beat it once to get rid of it. But right now it has got it's ranked, what it was put on there was a 53. So it's going to be hard to get rid of.
Okay, where should I write this? Sorry, I can't.
So where your other cheat conditions are, if you just want to put those...
Is this on the roll 20 or the sheet?
You can do it either in the roll 20 or I did open up some sheets I'd put in there that may be a little more useful. There's the roll 20. It's got, because we went through and we put together a couple. Did we put together some cheat conditions for you?
Not yet, no.
Okay, because like you usually want to have like it's like 2. So I would just make a note maybe towards the top because it's one that will come into it, like maybe right underneath interesting times and entanglement.
Yes.
And if everyone else doesn't have cheat conditions, we'll figure out what you want your kind of the cheat conditions that you are keeping up to be. So I'd make a note, the Legacy of Blood. It's got a duration of 1, interval of 1 story, which means you only have to beat it once, but you can only roll to beat it once per story.
Okay, I'm just going to put this here because my brain is not working right now. So legacy.
That's fine. You want me to type it in so you can...
Yeah, sure. Oh,
Okay.
I'm going to click cancel.
What just
happened? I accidentally controlled alt everything. I've cancelled it though.
Weird things just happened on my computer. Oh, I did not. You could actually move the chat out. I did something. That was weird. So, Legacy of Blood. It's a minor action hyperactivity. So +5 when giving
go ham with sword.
Into basically what the sword wants. It's duration 1, which means you only have to beat it once. Interval is 1 story, which means you can kind of try to get rid of it at the end of the story. Now, if you become aware of it, like right now you're unaware of what's actually happened from an in-character point of view, but it's something that like Colton, for example, might be able to move down difficulty to get rid of it because is his roll, which is a 53. So it'll look like that.
Okay. So I have to beat... So how do I? So you said I only need to beat it once. How do I beat it?
So at some point, like, if you do you can do like a resist recovery, which is with confidence. You make the roll. It's a high roll, so like once you're sort of aware in character that things seem to be working out a little bit more, it'll be easier for someone like Colton maybe to see what's going on, and then like he could try to do it more actively to bring down that down. Now, granted, if you meet this person again and they happen to inflame it, it could go to major, which gives you a +10.
Okay, cool.
So,
Before he leaves, she's doing that thing like, she's being stubborn in that like she's just trying to be silent, but also she's super fucking got so many questions. So like, if he turns to leave or anything, she'll be like, "Wait, what do you know of my uncle?"
we fought side by side once. Traveled together a little bit as well. I knew that man had in him a lot of anger. It was glorious. You actually mentioned that was your uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, the blood will tell. If you have his sword, if you manage to get the sword away from Sword Saint, well, you must have that in you too. Do you?
I think she frowns again, because mentioning glorious and anger, she just frowns and says, "Like I said, it's not your business," and then she walks away.
By the way, what's your name? Niece of grieving distance.
I think she says, I think, she says, it's impolite to ask without giving.
Red Eagle.
Red Eagle. Pale Blossom.
I have a feeling our paths will cross again. This is a fortuitous event.
Pale Orchid.
I just left such a strong impression.
It's if
just want to be
Plum
me.
Blossom and Pale Orchid had a baby. Sorry, adopted a baby.
Children.
Yeah. Sorry, adopted a 20-year-old.
I'm a dog.
Sparrow?
Alright, so backs are for guard duty, but you're gonna have a new name. God.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he just kind of laughs. He's like, this is a fortuitous meeting. I feel like the gods have blessed me a little bit.
Are you going to be causing trouble?
He smiles and kind of holds up a hand in like a gesture of, I would never. You see the flames sort of lick along his fingers, and it's just a smile. He goes, I'm sure you'll see my handiwork. And then turns around and heads into the crowd. Lone Sparrow.
Aye.
So, Plum Blossom has gone to wrote it on another sheet of paper, the House of Blue Orchid, and essentially is looking for some employment. At this point, you know that one thing you need to do is check in with the Eagle, or you're supposed to at least check in with the Eagle Talon headquarters. All of the larger towns have got at least something, and this is a place where there's enough wealth and other things come through. Plus, there's also, you're not entirely sure if the news has hit as of yet with what's happened. So that's something that you may want to pass along as well. As you kind of come in, as you're looking around the House of Blue Orchid itself, Plum Blossom is speaking with a woman there. You can kind of see that she's also of the Wulin, and they head off into a little garden area in between, and what you can see essentially, Plum Blossom is auditioning for a job here.
All right.
It seems to be fairly safe. Do you stick around, or do you use this time to go and check in with Eagle Talons?
I guess the question is, like, do I have standing orders to be, like, next to him as often as possible, or if it's...
Nah. Like, I think,
there's
I
times
honestly,
that'll be impossible.
I actually thought that I was just hiring Lone Sparrow for the journey.
I
Unless,
do like the idea that perhaps Lone Sparrow, maybe you've been given some orders to keep an eye on,
Yeah, just
but
kind of like standing orders, like, the idea being, like, we knew he was traveling town to town for right now. So it's like, just keep an eye on him as you go town to town and find excuses to be nearby, if that's the angle we're going with.
do you think you know, like, my lineage?
I don't think I know for sure. I think,
Okay.
like,
But whoever-
somebody up in the Talon may have given me vague indication that it would be a good idea to keep an eye on you.
Colton, do you like the idea that someone does know and maybe has
Extremely good if someone really high up in, like, the Golden Eagle knows. Or no, got it. Did I mix that up? Eagle Talons? Golden Eagle?
Yeah, Eagle Talons.
Eagle Talons,
So,
yeah. I really like the idea of someone really high up, like, knowing, and playing their cards really close to their chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be somebody like Gallant Eagle. The only other person that's really high up is Silver Talon. But he would be in the order of bringing things to kind of peace, because he can't actually fight right now. So he's essentially out of the War of Succession. So Silver Talon in the book has an ailment, like a negative, that makes it so that doing any kind of kung fu basically brings him one step closer to death each time.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So he's essentially out of the running, so he just kind of lives at the nest and teaches people.
He's also the only person who's still alive from when Gallant Eagle essentially said that he was going to turn this group of mercenaries into one of the most powerful forces in the Wulin.
Yeah.
And all the rest of them, like they just, in the nature of what they do, a lot of them have ended up dying.
Yeah.
So he's the only friend of. And like you might be aware, that might be a reason. Like no one knows entirely sure, but Gallant Eagle has lost a lot to get to where he's at.
Mhm.
And so that might be why. There's probably rumors about all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might feel a little unusual that you were given this sort of assignment and then this stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have all sorts of ideas
Yeah.
as to maybe why.
I couldn't find, like, the entanglement for it, but I had the idea of, like, Sparrow liking Silver Talon just basically because Gallant's big and powerful and has everybody's attention, but people are kind of giving Silver his space. So if anybody in the nest was going to, like, teach a young upstart things, like, especially about just the world in general, it'd be somebody like Silver.
Okay.
Just kind of like...
Well, how about the idea? Maybe it was Silver Talon that actually gave you this assignment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I kind of like that idea because like Silver Talon's in an unusual and interesting position.
Yeah.
As far as that stuff goes.
It'd be one of those things, he couldn't openly support one of the two actual heirs, but throwing his lot in or, like, placing a bet on kind of like a random outcome would kind of fit his needs. Especially if he saw, like, hey, this might be good for what we're doing.
It also puts you in a position where, because like you don't know if maybe they think that this could be someone who might have some potential, but you also know that Plum Blossom, as a member of the Wulin, can take care of himself. So there's a point where keeping an eye on does not necessarily mean being like hovering bodyguard for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I'd probably run out towards the, if this area seems secure and they seem in good company, then...
Yeah, the one thing with the particularly like the House of the Blue Orchid is a pleasure house that essentially caters mostly to the very wealthy, the ex-ministers who've retired here, the very important sages. Like, there's a lot of wealth and money comes here. The Resplendent Phoenix Society, one of the things they do is they help guard the brothels and such. And there's a lot of those a lot of the pleasure houses are taken over by a lot of them are run by women at this point, but having them there, they used to probably have a lot more to do in some respects, but with the alteration of society, they're still trying to figure out kind of where they're going to be.
Yeah.
But give me half a second to refill my drink. I'll be right back.
I'll refill too while we're taking this.
Sparrow says little, does everything. Now, that's kind of where I've gotten on this, because, like, last campaign, Max talks incessantly and then solves problems. So we're gonna go. I guess my idea with Sparrow is, like, if you're going to everything you do kind of alters the world. So if you're going to alter something, alter it big, and keep your
no half measures.
No half measures, and keep things silent in between. If you're going, there's no need to cause little ripples if you can save it up for one huge one later.
And Oren, I'm back whenever you.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So yeah, probably heading out towards wherever the Talons have set up in this city.
They actually got a pretty nice setup here, partly because of the wealth and such in this city. It's and also the little bits of intrigue that tend to run around the ministers who never really stop being political, even though they've retired. There is a lot of call here and there for some Eagle Talons. So there's actually a fairly well-equipped little headquarters there. When you come in, the place itself, you're sort of very quickly... we use this one. I'm going to character notes. You mean Iron Arm Keifu. Liaison in Magnificent Ink. As he greets you with some wine.
Just, if he's offering me wine, I take the cup and nod to him and knock it back, because that's what you do in the Talons.
Yep, but he kind of pours himself and is like, man after my own heart. So, well, we've got interesting times ahead.
Interesting times indeed.
Recently had a runner made it down from the Eagle's Nest, Eastern Sunrise. I don't know if you've met him.
I can't say I've had the pleasure.
You remember?
Oh, I remember.
Sunrise.
If I remember him, then yeah, if he's hung around the nest.
Yeah, he's works pretty good as like a scout and such, and like as a runner. Like martial arts and other stuff is not the greatest. Not everyone, of course, needs to be there, but it can be hard for a lot of people. I don't know if you're that type to kind of separate the ability in the martial arts with kind of worthiness, like rank. Like he would kind of be considered a rank 5. Relatively new. He might get there, but you don't know if he's kind of got that spark.
I think Sparrow's the kind of guy, like, if you're
Oh, Oren, you cut out.
Am I back?
Hello? Hello?
Oh, yep, there you are.
There we go.
I dropped two.
I think Discord entirely
Okay.
just went with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Damn Discord.
Yeah, so Sparrow's probably less on about status and more on the fact, like, the Talon itself is a brotherhood.
Okay. Oh, you're a good person. I see how that is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so and that one you can kind of tell that that Iron Arm looks a little bit down on Eastern Sunrise, which is, perhaps a shame. But as it came out the information, Gallant Eagle's leaving.
Just washing his hands. We don't know where it'll go.
And here I thought things here had been fairly boring and normal, but apparently it's to be a little more interesting than I thought.
Leave it to the old bird to shake up the world once again.
So, are you looking for a job, or do you have one?
I have a current job, at least in town, but I wouldn't say no to quick work. At least if it doesn't take us too far.
Tell you what, I might have something. Let me know where you're staying, and I'll send someone through. Right now, it's a little... Because I gotta be honest. When this news hits, this town is gonna explode. Well, parts of it. You've got both the Falling Leaves Society and the Resplendent Phoenix Society, both fairly powerful, and they've been at odds in the past. Once they know about this, they're going to end up probably trying to show enough power that they can put someone in charge. I'd rather we stay independent than become an arm of another pillar. But that rivalry is probably going to get a little worse before it gets better. However, that can mean work for us.
Coin is coin, brother.
That it is. Kind of has himself another drink. He goes, yeah, just let us know where you're going to be, and I will send someone tomorrow, because tomorrow we're taking the information to the Phoenix.
Oh, goody. Just set the con. Save the forest by starting the fire ourselves.
I'd almost rather if they could get along and do this without getting difficult, but again, I know we don't get paid very well when that happens, do we?
Who are you going to have break the news?
What?
Who's going to break the news?
Well, one of the things that Eastern Sunrise came with, and you basically got these like sort of sealed scroll tubes that you often use, kind of durable as shit, that you use often when it comes to like taking information. It's a way of showing that the person who sealed it and is the only one who's actually seen it. So that means there's a pretty good chance that they have. Well, you pretty much know that they probably got one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
That have to be delivered.
Gotcha.
It's kind of late. It's kind of late enough that when they got in that they weren't going to do so.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. Lovely. And here I was hoping for a restful stay near the waters.
We don't really get restful all that often. Okay. So, with this, pull up something real quick. As well, nothing else, then I will probably talk to you tomorrow.
I'll be back with the information. As soon as I figure out where I'm laying my own head down tonight.
Well, then, in that case, check with me tomorrow and I'll let you know.
Alright.
Okay. On your way out, when you're on your way out, you hear from up above you, you hear a window sort of gently shutting. And as you look up, you see there's a man with like a mask that's covering a portion of his face is coming out of one of the windows up above.
Like, from the Talons building? Or from a different one?
Eagle Talons building. Like someone with a face mask. He's kind of come out the window, and you can kind of see in one of his hands, he's holding one of those scroll cases.
I guess the question to me is, does he look anything like a Talons member?
The idea of a Talons member like sneaking out like that is
like not walking out of their own front door is
there's no reason for one of them to be coming literally outside of the building itself.
Yeah, we're gonna go up there and get him.
Okay.
I think I have enough movement to just go to the roof.
Okay. He at this point is not really kind of looking down. You can kind of see him like he's getting ready to sort of spring up and make his way probably. Here, let me move this all here. And Oren will have you doing something here in a moment as well.
Okay.
That kind of goes along with this. So there's a canal right nearby, and you kind of see him looking to spring. This is not sort of exact, but I just grabbed these things for them. This is what they sort of look like. But he's sort of here. He's probably going to try to spring to one of the on the boats and probably make his way across the water that way.
Could I, like, while he's attempting to do this, kind of, like, intercept his pattern and force him back through the window?
Absolutely. So, what would happen is, roll both of you can roll for initiative.
Hey, look, no sets. Anyway.
Okay. So, oh shoot. So for him, with the initiative, what I'm doing for him, for his right now, I'm going to go ahead and put him here. You don't quite know who he is yet. Make a note: the martial art. Oh, okay. It changes martial art. So for his initiative, because he's trying to move kind of stealthily, he's gonna put the 24 there. But for his wave, now his wave is trying to move across the, make his way across to go from where he's at to one of the ships where he'll be able to then kind of leap through. The 29 is enough to do that. So what happens is if you go before him, if you can have a higher. So his total is 29 for his initiative. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's got anything necessarily that adds to that. I will just double check. Yeah, those are not the things that are added by what he's got for techniques. So if you go before him, you can actually what you want to do is create a wave to move up to where he's at. Now he's up on the wall, so it'd be the wave to move up there would be a 20.
Okay.
And that comes out of your initiative.
Okay.
And then you can try to break his wave of a 29 to stop him from going. Then if you wanted to put like a knockback, you could try to knock him back into the room.
Okay. And I pull all of those numbers from this dice pool?
Yeah, well the only ones you can pull from this one is your initiative. Mm-hmm. Like, can you go faster than him? And then you want to have at least a 20 wave, which for you is a footwork, because you're going up the wall, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you've got a pretty high one on there. You're making a wave to get up to him, and then the actual like stopping him and then knocking him back would happen during your attack.
Okay. Give me 1 second to recover my phone from the other room because it has my list of techniques on it and things, and I believe I actually have something that stops people's waves as an external.
Okay. So while you're doing that,
okay, you're right.
Oren.
Colton?
Or Colton. Yeah, because I'm also. Let me just put this thing here real quick, because he does get a bonus for that, and okay, that's the only one. Okay, so for you, as she sees you kind of poured. As I recall, we finished off. You had just poured the tea and been all.
Yeah.
Okay. And she smiles at that point, and she's like, "You do all that very well."
Okay, so first I need to beat his initiative, which is speed. What is his current speed?
If you see it up on, it's the one right across from the black. So he's got a 29 initiative and a 29 for the wave. You don't have to worry about the wave yet.
Okay.
You just want at least a 20 action to get up there for your wave.
Okay, so I can slot. Let's say we'll use this single. Oh, I don't have any pairs is the issue, so got to use singles, I think.
Yeah, you can use that. And actually, for your minor action, it looks like you're actually, yeah, you would not be able to do a thing for the wave. However, you could move to get him next turn.
Yeah, I want to be like on top of him if that's possible. If I can't break the wave, then
Well, let me do a quick thing to see if you need a set for minor action for moving. Just double check that real quick. Oh, I want to go much further down than that. Book of Earth. Initiatives and waves. Because try to imitate a wave. Use an extra set from your initiative roll to do a wave. Like any other minor action, you then apply a bonus for that. It makes sense for moving to move up there. It does make sense because otherwise, if you just happen to not roll some stuff, you can't move between places, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like doing some of the other cool stuff could make a little more sense. Like you can't find the time to do it, but this is just movement.
okay.
So for movement, I'll let anybody use a single die for that.
Okay, then if it's for speed, for speed and footwork, then, or just for speed.
Speed. So basically, go ahead and put your stuff in your initiative. Your wave is usually footwork, and it should already be up there.
Okay. So I was trying to figure out what numbers to use because I think I can. Because I've got a 1/6, so 16, which puts me at a 31 to his 29.
Which means you go before he does.
Yeah, and then if I can still use singles, then I've still got my 8, 9, and
Frank,
10.
Yeah, and then Frank, you have a technique that raises you up to plus 15 on your.
Yeah, like I've got a plus 25 footwork bonus by itself.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, basically, you'd be able to move up there by yourself even without. Yeah, you just put like anything there; it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll beat him out anyway because I feel like it.
Okay, so at that point, then you get to make sort of your. So as you rush up there, you go faster than him, and you you're able to get up the wall essentially. Now you can go ahead and make your attack roll.
Okay. And new roll because can I store anything? If I store things from this, I can't use it during the attack.
No, if you the only way to store things is you have to have a set.
Okay, it's got to be a set. Hey, there's a set of 9s. My only set.
Damn.
Guess who's getting 9'd?
So what you need to do is you can do a minor attack with a single die, but if you want to break his wave, you need a set for that.
Okay.
And to be honest, those two, you're trying to stop him from moving, and usually with that. In this case, as you're trying to get up there, I would say, depending on how you want to do it, like something like might or like finesse, like however you describe it, will kind of depend on what skill you use to break the wave.
My idea had been like trying to get this is just kung fu enough that I think this is funny, is that I don't quite get to the roof at the same time he jumps off, so instead I jump off a lower part of the roof even higher, and just moving quicker than him, get in front of him, and then just kind of footstool him down into the ground.
Okay, what, so it sounds like that might be a finesse.
I think I took all my points out of finesse.
But what you can also do, I think, for that, and I'll double check here real quick. I think you can actually spend. You can improvise waves with chi. Double check breaking waves. You get a +5 per.
I've got a regular +5 on breaking waves due to an external alert called World Arranging Sweep.
Oh yeah, then actually that case that along with the 2 sets you've got would put you above what he's got. So yeah, when breaking a wave is a minor action on your roll, you don't have to complete a wave on your turn if you no longer want to. Yeah, so basically just a minor action that you do. It's also possible to improvise a technique using internal kung fu, getting a +5 per point of chi spent up to the maximum of the highest level technique you know in the skill style you're using.
Okay.
So yeah, like if you spend like a point of chi to kind of get up there, and then
I can.
So
I can do both.
You're gonna stop
anyway. I can do both because the +5 is external, and I can continue spending. I can burn chi to do that because I've got enough speed techniques that at least one of them's about catching your opponent.
Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is to make this easier for me on yours. Go ahead and put in the breaking the wave. Go ahead and put your stuff in. Breaking the wave is in the orange part underneath.
Okay, the orange part.
Like the blue are your attacks, the yellow is defense, and the orange are any kind of marvels, which include disrupting a wave.
Okay. Ends a wave someone started, so I want to put a pair in that.
Yeah, and then you can put a 5 in the technique bonus, and then that will for spending 1 chi, and then that will, and then plus you got the other +5. Or no, you don't have to spend the chi actually. If you just do the 2 9s, so you put a 29. And then the +5 from your little technique bonus, you don't have to spend chi. You stop his 29.
Yeah, give me a second because the Google Doc has decided it's not going to let me connect because I'm offline.
Okay, so you want to reload while you're reloading that, Colton.
Yeah.
So at that point, you have basically just done all the tea and such, kicked ass. She's like, very impressive. She's like, you hold yourself extremely well.
I bow my head.
But I'm curious. How's your kung fu?
Why don't I show you?
And she goes, I have an idea. And she walks over and she pulls. There's a grouping of stones. She grabs a bunch of the stones up in her hand, and then she reaches up and takes her earring, off, and puts it in her hand, and she shakes it. And then with a little bit of spin on the chi, you shake it and she throws it up into the air, so it'll actually sort of float there a little bit longer. And she's like, "How about the first of us to get that is the greater warrior?"
I flash a grin and I'm like immediately going to like throw out like silk from my robe to try and snatch the earring out of the air.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Damn.
I'm connected to the internet, but it will not let me back into the Google Doc.
Even if you shut it out and then reopen it from the one I put into the chat.
Yeah, I'm afraid to close like the internet because I think it might just permanently disconnect.
I can put in numbers for you.
Okay.
I don't mind doing that. I know that's like a weird experience.
Just like it won't let me in, and like if I can't open any new tabs, but it'll let me keep all the ones I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's being
so
weird. Basically, I can get signals in, but not out.
Huh.
Huh. I'll do this real quick. Okay. So yeah, she is going to she has a 19 on her initiative and a 29 on her wave to essentially as she starts to run around that little courtyard, and she's making her way up one level to where the earring and everything else is sort of holding.
Cool.
Should you have seen what coming, Orin? Oh, did we lose Orin's?
Hey, we're back.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
good lord, you're having some troubles.
Yeah, it's horrid. Anyway, let's see if I can open that document now.
Did she but yay!
I can now open this document. Yeah, okay. And do I need to put in a regular attack? If I'm
Yeah, just
blow a single in
one of
there?
your dice. Yeah, because basically you do like an attack, like if you're trying to stop him, his defense is going to be probably pretty fine against that.
okay.
So I get roll defense for him.
Interesting times only goes off when you burn 2 10s, or is it just
Yeah,
okay?
it's just when it's a set.
Okay, then we're just gonna put that in there anyway because this guy needs to learn not to steal from the Talons.
Oh shoot, I put that in the wrong thing. Oh no, I didn't. me put it here. Yeah, the second one is her. Let me make a note. I'll put that there so it's a little bit easier. And I'll put... what is your... Oren, what's your... Or Colton, rather, what's your martial arts style?
Graceful Crane.
Here's the thing is, actually, you have both the same martial arts style and internal martial art that is super common amongst the Resplendent Phoenix. So, it's funny, as she's moving, you see that kind of the same sort of movement coming from her. Like, you definitely recognize how she moves.
So she's next to the yellow.
Yeah, so yeah, she's the one next to the yellow. So you got the 24. The wave to get up there is the 44. That's if you want to try to stop her wave. She's got a 24 total initiative as she's up there. And so we should have Oren should have the attack in there. Okay, so the 30 and then the 34.
Oops.
So the wave got disrupted. You stopped him.
Orin, I'm so sorry. I typed in your thing, but if I undo enough, it'll... There we go. Alright, you're back.
Okay.
Sorry. So, if I get lower initiative but a higher wave, can I break her wave? Or do I need to have higher initiative to break her wave?
Well, so with your wave are you staying where you're at, or are you also like leaping up into the air?
I'm leaping up into the air.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, the breaking a wave happens on an action and not on the initiative. And also at this point, I will say, Xander.
Hello.
You look back, and as you're sort of walking away, you look back. You see Red Eagle like leap up onto like off of a building, and then up onto a roof. You kind of moved across. You don't think a lot of people saw him. Kind of puts his hood down. And he actually sort of takes off the shirt, and as he does so, you see the flames start to just like spread across his body a little bit more. It seems very clear that he's kind of building up some chi. And you see him looking like across one of the canals at a specific sort of building there, and like he's kind of gathering up fire.
Oh, great. Okay, without water chi, like back in ancient China, how did people put out fires?
Mainly by scooping buckets at them. Also, they had a primitive version of kind of a fire hose using a bellows pump, but it was extremely inefficient, and they didn't really keep them places.
But remember, you are also kick-ass wuxia warriors where, like, if one of you took, like, a sword or something, or it just, like, almost, like, struck the canal hard enough to throw...
I mean, that's what I did last week.
And did well, like, honestly, that sort of a thing is completely in going with the style of the genre. Okay. It's very genre specific. Because you are aware that he's a higher rank than you, and a lot of like, facing him head on would be
dumb,
real hard. Yeah, but
I didn't make this character to be smart.
Okay, so as you decide what you want to do, we can kind of go through and figure out what happened here. So I think, defense-wise, the mysterious warrior, you went up there. He managed to beat you had a 31 against your 30 for the attack, which, I mean, your attack was kind of a throwaway anyway. And you disrupted his way, so he's actually not able to go. As he kind of, like, hits your hand with his, with a kick. As you sort of appear there very quickly and kind of surprise the shit out of him. At which point, he leaps and like spins in the air. So he's doing two things. He's attacking you and then trying to actually kick you through the window into the into the room he just came out of.
You bastard! That was my plan.
So yeah, so he's got 2 8s from the river before that he kept, and I rolled 2 more 8s. So his actual, so I'm going to just put in his knockback, which will be, where's knockback? The knockback Marvel. So he's got a hell of a thing on that one, with a 48 and. Yeah, none of the other stuff that he has necessarily make... Oh, actually, I can do this too. So, with what I rolled, and I've got a 24 and then a 23. So his strike against you will have a total of a 34, and he is also he's attacking your speed. So as he's... Let me go, attacks combat. So he's trying to disorient against your speed, which means I had the 24, so I have a 23, but he's got some bonuses for that. He uses up kind of a good amount of... Put that there. So you can kind of feel like a huge amount of chi building up in him. So he has a total of 43 to bring down your speed, or your speed to slow you down. If he succeeds, it would bring it down by 5. He did an attack for 23, and then a 48 plus his might, which I think was a 0. So then a 48 total to knock you back.
Okay. Sparrow is not having a fun time.
Yeah, I was really shocked at that roll. So yeah, so for him, it's the one in the green that you would be defending against. You could put those in the same one. You can put the dodge in the yellow for depending on how you're blocking. If you're blocking or dodging, either of which would dodging probably makes more sense because as he hits and sort of flipping around from behind.
Yeah.
It'd be a little harder to block, so you'd have a -5 with the block, but you would be able to dodge with no negative.
Yeah. I can dodge, no problem.
Yeah, is that your dodge is higher anyway?
I think my block is actually effectively 0.
Okay.
So it's just...
So if you want to make your roll, and then while you're making your roll and like putting your numbers in, Orin.
Colton?
Or God damn.
Numbers!
Blood Blossom.
Sets! Look at them all! Yay!
Nice!
So, what's your initiative?
My initiative is, because you said, sorry, I know you already clarified this, but lower initiative but higher wave means I can break her wave.
No. You want to beat her initiative because your waves happen during your turn.
Okay, then I have 44 initiative.
Okay, that is a lot higher. So you actually go first before she.
And then my wave is either 1/8 is 18, right?
Yeah.
Do I need a higher wave than her in order to break her?
You need a set for that.
Is dodge just full?
Oh right. Then if I use the 26,
you would not be able to break her because hers is.
Dang it! Oh well, I'll still take it.
Yeah. So basically, you're both going to end up there, but you get to go first. So what'll happen is you go ahead and make your action roll.
Okay.
And then so the thing is your wave at some point in your turn you move between one and the other. You can if you want to you can use a set as an action to once you get up there to try to grab it, and because it's going to be kind of difficult to pull out of it. You'll have to have at least 30.
Well, I have great news. I rolled 2 6s. I have 2 6s in my river. So what am I using to grab it?
So I'm guessing if you want to use those 6s, you'll be up there. If you're not doing any other attacks or anything like that, because you don't have to at this place, especially because you could be out of there before anything happened. You could throw those 6s in. You would need at least a 30 to grab the. I
have 46 without even bonuses.
Yeah, so basically you'll be able to get up there fairly quickly, though when she gets up there, might try to see if she can take it from you, but you're going to very quickly be able to go up there and like just snatch it out of the air before she can even get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me
and then-
clean the river.
Yep. And then Xander, what are you doing? As you see him as he's kind of bringing up fire, and then fire's appearing at the end of his fists.
How far away am I from him?
At this point, we'll say like he's in the next zone. I mean, he's up, but you could, if you wanted to move a zone, you could get to him, or you could be the thing below him, like the building he's standing on the roof of.
God, I really badly want to fucking just like run at him and just kick him off the roof.
You know, with him being a higher,
Yeah, it's
ranking,
gonna be hard,
Like,
but
like,
she's
like hitting
like-
him directly would be difficult. It could be possible. Like you might do it.
At the very least, if she can't like, if she doesn't succeed in hitting him off, she's like distracting him, I guess.
Okay. So I would say go ahead and make your initiative roll. I'll make the one for him because he's not even paying attention to you at this point.
Okay. Those orange attacks, do those have to be dodged separately, or is that part of the footwork dodge?
No, basically what you want to do is a dodge for the attack and then defense against the disorient. So defense is disorient and disrupts are used with like skills like hardiness would probably work fairly well for this one because he's usually trying to hit you kind of hard enough in the leg that it slows you down a little bit.
Yeah,
Hardiness makes the most sense if there's another one you can think of.
I've got
You guys
enough
wanna-
hardiness, probably. I've got 10 in that, I think, because it's my... God damn it, reconnecting Google Sheet. And we're back to Google Sheet cannot be reached because internet problems.
Fucking hell. Is this because everyone's still in the living room and you're on Wi-Fi?
Lots of things.
Ugh.
Honestly, I think we're just getting fucked by Comcast at this point, and we need to go scream at them, but nobody's had time.
Listen up, motherfuckers!
So yeah, that's completely disconnected. I can't access it, and I'm probably going to disconnect at some point.
Okay, well let's try to go do this real quick.
I do have a 10 in. I do have hardiness though. I was going to ask how the laughs at fears thing works real quick.
With that one, you need to do like a thing where you like basically analyze their martial art, and then you're like depending on the type of martial art you have, you may have a bonus or negative. Until we're a little more comfortable with all of this stuff, I don't want to worry too much about
Okay, that was
just because it's an extra layer of stuff on top.
gotcha. Now there was just a line in the shadow catching about laughing at reactionary events. And it's like, okay, that's what he's done is because he's popped up and I'm basically there now. He's just reacting in every way possible so that I don't kick him. But
yeah, so if it does that, but you would be able to spend the chi to use that for. Or wait, shadow catching a.
shadow catching is external.
Oh, it won't work for this because it's a. I don't think. Let me look back over it, see if it works for like those disorients and such. But right now, let's not worry too much about
That's
it.
fine. I can't. You can just do everybody else, or because I can't access anything right now.
So, well, here we'll come back to here in just a moment. So, Xander, what do you do?
What are the numbers to get to the other zone, and then like
It would just be a 20 to get to the roof, or a 20 if you want to go into the building that he's standing on top of.
I want to get to him.
Or
So I could use my 29 to do that. Actually, no. My footwork comes into this, right?
yeah.
So I could do 11 plus 10 plus my footwork is 21. So then I'm gonna kick him as soon as I'm there. So what would that be?
Okay.
It's a marvel because I want to. I'm guessing moves opponent. Right.
Let me do this real quick for Oren.
No worries.
We might be able to put those in. If you want to type it in, we can then put those into the right thing for you. So that's you just getting up there. As what he's doing is you. What's your initiative?
It's 15.
Okay, he'll actually go. He's kind of creating a wave where he's doing the fire blast. He actually has a 24
Jesus.
on there. So that he just put 2 4s on there.
Yeah.
He's got no bonus for his speed on his martial art. Yeah, well, he actually should. That did not make it for some reason. He actually has a 34.
Fucking
I don't
hell.
know why that didn't. Yeah, so he is actually get it off before you get up there.
Okay.
So as you're leaping up, he's like, and a huge column of fire goes across and then catches the roof of the building. As you sort of look up and he's sort of laughing, you can see that it is it's a falling leaf society, as you can kind of see on the sort of placard out front. It's a falling leaf society building that he just struck.
Okay. So yeah, I guess he just sort of looks over in a little bit of horror, and then she pulls out her sword and points it at him and says, she says, what is this in aid of? Who exactly are you? And she's making demand. But also, would I be rolling again, or so do I have to put something on the river now, or
No, if you do an attack, you would be then rolling, because the basically this way movement, how quick you go, and if you're moving to another place, or if you're trying to do something during a turn, and if you want to focus on breath to breathe in more chi, that all happens during the initiative roll.
Okay.
All the rest of the stuff happens during the actual act.
I see. And how I can only store 2 things on the river right now.
And they have to come from sets.
Yes. So because this was my initiative roll, what did you say we can do on initiative rolls?
Well, it'll put you up there. You can talk a little bit while he you can talk a little bit before it actually gets into something. It's he's technically going before you,
Yes.
because he's got the 34 initiative, but he wasn't really kind of paying attention. But as a warrior, if you're up there, unless you had stealth, you're trying to put up there on there to sneak, he would notice that you're up there.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be able to talk.
Okay. So yeah, she's trying to demand explanations.
Kind of smiles and says, this city is about to be turned into a powder keg. I thought I'd just get it started a little bit early. And kind of looks at the sword. He's like, "Oh, you pulled out your
It's
sword."
pointed directly at him.
He goes, "You could try using on me. I don't think it's going to go well for you."
Yeah, I think she says she's shouting who do you work for? What is this in aid of? Just chaos?
It's an aid of overturning the establishment as we know it now.
Oh, I just got the fact that you're saying in aid of.
What
I kept hearing, what is this, Adolf?
is this?
Hello, and also,
God.
I put into the chat the 3 sets you rolled, Oren. If you want to let us know where you want us to put those, because you've got the attack, you've got the disorient against your speed, and then you've got the knockback into the building. So if I would put it in chat while we're doing this, and then I'll be jumping back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think the chat's reloaded. I think no. Roll20 is also super crashed. The only thing that hasn't crashed for some reason is Discord.
Jesus. If you want to throw it in the Discord chat, I'll put the thing in here.
And by that I'm not.
Yeah, he tells you. So he tells you it's an aid of overturning the Things have to change. The Emperor's disappeared. the world of the Wulins about to be set on its head.
She frowns and says, "Who are you with?"
I'm with the Fire Doctrine. Now, the Fire Doctrine are kind of a cult.
Yeah, they're one of the
That's
I can't remember their name, but like the anti orthodox, like the
like the unorthodox. Like one of the things is a lot of them are essentially considered barbarians, like not of the people, sort of from outside, which used to be true of the previous. I keep wanting to say administration, but the emperors was originally sort of from outside, but they often haven't been accepted, and they've kind of got a strong anarchist streak running through them.
Yeah. So it turns out I can't even post things in the chat. I can read what you post, but me attempting to post them is just nothing but airlines.
What the fuck?
Are you using a computer, or are you typing into like a Atari 2600?
Man, if
Jesus,
I'm pretty sure a
it's-
2600 could hold its connection better right now. That would be land in.
It's so weird because like your voice is coming through.
Yeah.
I think it's because Discord's like actual vocal software is near ultra lightweight. Anyway. So, yeah, there's that.
Oh, that sucks.
Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, it's your go unless it's my turn.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, she would say, "Why would my uncle work with you?"
Kind of smiles. He's like, "How well do you know your uncle?"
Yeah, I don't think she says anything because she's too embarrassed to, like, too stubborn to say, "Not as much as you, apparently."
Just listen to the sword. I have a feeling you're going to find out more about him than you think. And with that, and here's the point: is are you going to stop him if he tries to leap like across? Because like you start to hear people yelling, and as the fires is spreading throughout the building.
God, I have. Hold on. I have very high. Hold on. Fucking words. Very high benevolence.
Mm-hmm.
So she would probably like go after him because she can't she can't let him continue doing violence. But she hears screams coming from the building.
Okay.
So if she hears screams coming from the building, she would like pause and just like very annoyed like go to help people.
Okay. You have that moment as he smiles and then he bounds off, and you see him sort of like hit the water and then run across it for about 15 feet before like leaping then across a wall and then off into the distance. Okay, so we'll try this with. So Oren, you got we basically put like, your best defenses on.
Basically,
You want to keep
like, I don't mind taking the speed hit. It's the fact that I need to stay on top of this guy and preserve my health. So the biggest thing is I need to not be knocked back.
Okay, so the highest one you can put in there, your 27, still puts you 16 below. Wait a minute here. Yeah, still puts you 16 below what you would need. That would still knock you through. And then with the disorient, you got like a 24 and then a 23 for those other two. And the dodge.
I can get more dodge, but
Yeah, but basically getting out of the way of that main attack. Like you're not going to get hit with the main attack because you can get a 48 with using your 23s.
yeah.
But with the main attack and then him knocking you back.
Yeah.
Will be a thing. And I'll say this because you're having so much. Cause you can't even type in the roll 20 thing right now.
No, I can't type anything.
Okay, so in this case, partly so we can keep moving. You want to say you're knocked in, and then he like disappears under the waves.
Yep.
And that is swimming the direction.
I think I've lost you, unless you're not talking.
Oh
Anyway.
no, so yes. Do we just want to like go with that?
Yeah,
as part
I'm
because
just knocked through the
getting you back
building
on
and he's gone.
Yeah, so basically you kind of knock you like through the window, and you actually land on top of Eastern Sunrise, who's asleep. What? Lone Sparrow?
God damn it, Sunrise.
And Plum Blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked it out of the air. She leaps up, and then she sort of grabbed a hold of as she's got up there, and then grabbed a hold of one of the railings, and it's kind of in there, and she's like, better than I thought you'd be. Fast too.
I'll take that as a compliment.
She smiles and then drops back down to the ground. And as she does so, she's like, whips her sword out, and like, and kind of takes it through and is actually like catching a bunch of the stones before they fall. So like a couple of them strike and bounce off of things, but she actually managed to get quite a few of them, and then just back into the little container they came from, where there was some of the plant. I think you'd do well here.
Thank you. I would be glad to enter your establishment then. If that's what this is. Here can mean so many things.
She sort of smiles and she's like, you may discover if you play your cards right. And at that point, someone rushes out. It's like, you see several people, like someone rushes in, says like, there's a fire, and a bunch of people, like you see several of the guys run out. The younger one, what you can see is like sort of like lesser Wulin, the ones you can see by as they're moving. They run out of the building like rather abruptly. And as she's sort of looking, she goes, a fire, and then she leaps up like from the ground up onto the thing, and she kind of hops her way up onto the roof. Do you
Yes.
join her? Okay. Hops her way up onto the roof and then looks across, and she's like, and you can see like not hugely far away, you can see there's a fire spreading in a building, and like rather freakishly quick. It's like, it's a Falling Leaves Society headquarters. Or, well, not headquarters, they got their main thing here. But it's one of the Falling Leaves Society buildings.
It seems all I'm doing these days is putting out fires. Would you care to join me?
Kind of looks, she's like, sure. And then heads across.
Yeah, I'm going there.
And Lone Sparrow. I say by the time you come up, and I would say you're also not terribly far. You can see Pale Orchid rushing into going into a burning building to grab some people out.
Yeah,
Which is just sort of the other way across a couple buildings from the where your the Eagle Talon's headquarters is.
yeah. If I've got like a spare second, I'm going to tell Sunrise to get downstairs and tell Iron Arm that the damn scroll tube got lifted.
No, that's impossible. It's like, God damn it!
Yeah, he kicked me through a fucking wall. Sunrise, how do you think I feel?
I got super lucky on those rolls,
Yeah.
though. But you can tell he's probably about a match
Yeah.
for you. He's same rank. Yeah, he comes down. He's like, Iron Arm's on. He's like, God damn it!
Like Sparrow just running downstairs, picking like bits of a window out of him. Like, gonna go save people from a fire. Be right back. And then just sprinting as hard as possible.
Okay, so all of you end up there. Yeah, it's like the fire itself is spreading like quickly enough that some of you pretty quickly get the idea this is probably chi inspired, which will burn a little hotter. And Pale Orchid, like there are a bunch of people like kind of rushing out. When it looks up, like we still have some people upstairs. So Xander, are you going?
Yeah, there's still some people upstairs. So what's the state of the fire?
the fire itself looks like the roof itself is pretty much up, and you're seeing it kind of it's working its way down the walls. A lot of it, like if someone is on the very top floor, they're in some pretty serious danger at this point. If they're running down, I mean the danger right now and the ones below it is how much smoke has gotten through, but it's not going to be too long before more of it shows up.
God, if only I could.
You'd shoot water onto it with your sword.
I could, but I don't.
Like,
I
just
don't know if
jump
that would
up
take
and
out the
just, like-
entire roof.
Like, I didn't mean like that. Like, you could take out a boat in the nearby river, and just like the resulting tsunami,
That's true.
or even just use or you could just like slice giant ventilation holes into the building.
Yeah, I was gonna say she might. What the floor's made of? Just wood, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Can she make giant holes in the floor above her? Like, just have like people drop through.
Absolutely.
Cool.
God!
Sparrow can catch them.
just go ahead and make a roll just to see. We can kind of see what single set you can get, like how awesome it is.
33.
Fuck. Well, yeah. And plus, it would plus be some of the martial arts.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like you just kind of leap up and you're just and you see like parts of it kind of collapse through. One of them, there's like a big chunk that hits the ground, and there's a dude who's just like eyes completely wide, like what the hell's going on as he hits the ground. And there's a few other people like see the hole and start leaping through.
Cool. Yeah. I try to catch people who like need the help, or I can just jump up there and then help them down and stuff.
Okay.
Just yeah.
All right. So I'd say probably about this point, the rest of you arrive.
Great.
There is no thinking on Sparrow's part. Like, as long as people are still walking out of the building, he's already run into the building. Like,
Okay.
if there's the big dumb hole that Lone's already cut, he's jumped up through it and is starting to, like, frogger his way up the levels.
Okay, go ahead. Just we'll do this all in one roll because we're getting towards 9 o'clock. Oh wait, you can't make the roll, can you?
No.
I'll make the roll for you.
Yeah. Also, I don't have work tonight if we want to go a little longer.
I'm able to go however long we want. I have to be up in August, like 18th.
You have to be up in August.
Fuck off.
Well, actually, basically as soon as I get back from Gen Con, I have to start doing prep for the school year.
Yeah.
I rolled 3 9s.
Yes.
2 5s, and 3 9s. If you need a river,
Yeah,
can
I need-
throw those in.
I need a river, but I'm not sure how. We'll
Yeah.
go.
Like if we need it, we can go
Yeah.
back. So do we want to call it close here in a half hour? Or do you guys want to go a little bit longer?
I'd
I can
call
go
it.
back. Go back.
Honestly, even though I do have it, I'm not even sure if I'll be able to walk. Like, it's my. Can I access the internet now? I'm sorry, because that kind of actually relies on this. Because my buddy, he's been doing
Yeah,
that stream, and tonight's like the season finale, and it's been really building. And I wanted to be there
No,
to
we'll
support him.
go to our normal time. Plus, like,
Okay.
there's some of the stuff like if you had access, we could go a little bit. It'd be a little easier to do stuff, but you're having some problems anyway.
Okay, yeah. I'll,
Um,
by next, I've got Gen Con as well, but by next week I should be able to have yelled at somebody to get this fucking fixed.
Okay.
Also, I
Um,
think Roll20's back online for me, if I can get in.
And also stop by and say hey at Gen Con because I posted the thing. I'll be running a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you head up with those 3 9s. You're heading up to him, like kicking some serious ass. So Plum Blossom, when you get there, there's the benevolent kind of like she halts up a little bit as there's several kind of look at her as you're coming out because like Resplendent Phoenix amongst the Falling Leaves Society, their rivalry has been not great.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Do you head straight in, or what do you?"
I actually want to do this thing with my sword. And I sort of jump over the building. And like while I'm over the building that's on fire, I'm dancing in the air, manipulating air currents with my huge ass sword to try and essentially vent the fire out.
Okay, so like using some chi to improvise a wave, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's sort of what's going on here. I mean, I don't have any like special skills to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I would go ahead. Basically, you're just the error. So go ahead and make a roll. You can spend up to 2 points of chi, which will give you a +10.
And that can be after the roll?
What? No, you spend it before you.
Yeah.
What's your Yeah. What's your your what the fox spirit?
Yeah,
song?
Fox Spirit song.
Yeah. So it might be like if you're almost like if it's all coming in from weird play. You describe it so it kind of fits the internal martial art that you use.
Yeah, let me take a look at it really quick.
That sort of disappearing and doing all of that.
Yeah.
I also put the basic descriptions in that file as well.
Great. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, it's about like a sixth sense and tricking people. It sounds more like. But I think like a part of that plus the graceful crane is just like I'm really good at, twisting around, getting out of the way, manipulating momentum. And it's almost like I'm tricking the fire into leaving.
Okay, so go ahead and you can spend.
Yeah, I'll spend 2 chi to give myself a preemptive +10.
Yeah, to add 10 to that, and I would say that probably is your finesse.
Okay, let me just
Would be the skill you'd add.
Where's current chi? Current chi. Is there like a maximum chi? Oh, chi threshold. Okay.
Yeah, your chi is whatever 10 probably.
It was at 12, so then I subtracted the current chi to 12 to 10. Okay, cool. All right, let's roll.
Hey, there's a pair of 10s.
The pair of 10s plus 10 is 30.
Interesting times.
Yeah, so with interesting times, go ahead and take what sort of. You go ahead and take a point of chivalrous joss.
Alrighty.
Because you are helping in this case. Yeah, but I'll say as you do that, there is a bit of it. There's a bit that collapses. You see that there was like a child, essentially. There, sort of eyes open as you see it kind of comes, and some of the flames start to whip back around it. At which point you see a masked figure leap down, actually like grab the kid as he's like kicking his way into the floor below.
Huh. So the masked person saved the child.
Yes.
Cool. Great. I'm glad I didn't kill a kid.
Yeah, and so at this point, like the fire itself is not all out, but it's definitely much more containable at this point. And you hear from outside as someone running to grab water from the canal and doing other stuff to try to get rid of the flames. You hear a voice very sternly. This happens, and if Phoenix is here, this is their fault. I'll guarantee it.
I don't know any of the facts. I just saw a fire, and how about we have this discussion after everyone is safe, okay?
At this point, you've got other people working on the stuff, and you've got the heads there. I will say, like, Orin, as you sort of look out, you see that masked figure is like puts a child down and goes directly over to one of the Falling Leaves members and is talking with them.
So it's totally the same masked guy.
Yes, I mean the thing is, you can actually see on his belt he's got the scroll case.
I'm gonna can I tap or not even tap Plum, but grab him by the shoulder and start pulling in that direction.
See, I don't know if Plum wants to do anything to stop you.
Just I'm too angry to talk. You're going to please talk for me, or else I'm going to start something terrible.
Colton, did you catch that?
No, I didn't. You were breaking up a little bit.
Oh,
Alright.
Yeah. Orin basically grabbed you by the shoulder and is like, "You need to talk for me, or I'll say something terrible."
All right, everybody. Let's organize. Make sure that we get all the children with their parents. Everyone, please. We have a situation here, but we can turn this into an opportunity to work together. Now, let's all take a deep breath and do what we need to do to make sure everyone's safe. Shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, that part's done. Come on, we gotta go this way.
Oh, you want to leave? I thought.
Like go like 10 feet over to talk to this fallen leaves guy.
Oh, to the fallen leaves guy, not everyone. Of course.
Yeah.
Please.
And the benevolence, like, I came to help. It came to help. You got caught because you were too close.
I literally like jump and leap in between them, and place a hand on each of their shoulders, and I say,
No, not even those guys. I want the guy talking to the masked asshole.
He kind of looks over. He's like, oh, shit.
"There's." I like look back at Sparrow, like mouthing, like, "What do you want me to do?" like,
I point at the fucking masked idiot and just go, I want to kill him. Like, that idiot stole from me and stuck me through a wall.
Okay. Now it sounds like you stole from my friend and put him through a
You
wall.
can see the smile underneath the mask.
Now, perhaps it's not my.
Through a wall, but
Okay.
all this respectfully.
Sparrow, close your eyes and count to 3. Now, masked friend. There's no reason for us to have a fight here, especially there are children about. That is not proper. You should be ashamed of yourself. And you, I turn back to the benevolent. I understand that you are trying to defend your honor, but you can do so without inflaming things more. There's no reason to cause a situation on anyone's behalf here.
She goes, I'm just telling them I didn't start this fire. And one of the other falling leaves is like, who else would do this but the Phoenix Society? Trying to come power, now the Gallant Eagle's going to be leaving, tries to take us over in our own place.
There is... go ahead.
I was gonna say.
I just see Xander's like.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm never good for advocating for myself. Yeah, I think Pale Orchid just says very loudly. It was the fire. What are the names?
The fire
Yeah,
doctrine.
the fire doctrine. She probably says that like in like every single movie they say it like quite quietly, and then they fucking have to shout real fucking loud because no one heard them.
What? The fire doctrine. And everybody, except those who are dealing with the fire, sort of stops and turns. And, like, the benevolent's like, fire doctrine. In Magnificent Inc.?
Yeah, there was a man called, insert whatever his name was here.
Red Eagle.
Red Eagle. He set a fire from over and pointed, like, just points over towards the direction of where the building he was stood on.
See? Now if you are all done making assumptions, and everyone's safe, then how about we take your advice and focus on the true culprit here. Now, what more do you know about this fire... Sorry, what was the name of that again?
And the
Red Eagle.
The Red Eagle. What more do you know about this Red
fire
Eagle?
doctrine.
Fire doctrine. Anyone?
I feel like Sparrow was content to let the adults talk, and he's like cornered the mask guy, and he's got his hand out, just going like, "Give me the damn thing."
He kind of looks at you, and he pulls out the scroll case. You saved our people.
And
And hands it like they probably would have found out what's on here soon enough anyway.
you stole from mine.
I stole from the Phoenix. You just happened to be holding it for a little bit of time. And he says, smiles. He's like, plus, the person who was guarding it really wasn't doing a very good job. I'm surprised he keeps anything.
Okay, is the seal still intact on the scroll?
Yep.
Okay, can I just deck this guy?
Because remember, he's also. It would be difficult because it would become. You're not very good at surprising each other with sucker punches.
Okay. Okay, if sucker punches aren't an option, then we're good. Then we're okay.
Yeah, I think I see you raring to go, like, you aren't hiding it. Like,
Yeah, I'm
Sparrow.
just like he's bad at hiding things, but he's
Yeah.
just gonna kind of take the scroll, slot it, and like walk back over to Plum, because that's where he's supposed
You're welcome.
to be.
Now,
Just
if we're,
ground Plum.
if we're undone glowering at each other,
I see him, I'm going to kick him into a building.
Sure you are, Sparrow. I understand that. I'm sure he does too. Now, if you wouldn't mind, we will be taking our leave now. Benevolent, it was wonderful meeting you. Thank you for assisting with this.
I'm sure I'll see you again.
Of course. I think I slip her like a personal like calligraphy card. Well, okay. How else do people do it, right? Like,
Here's my number.
These would be my digits if we had digits.
well, no. I think I just like give her like maybe so that I'm like you can find me at what's a good tea house name? Maybe like
I don't think we decided
Splendor-
where we were staying.
I'm staying with my mom. Would like the Splendor of Autumn be a good tea house name?
That sounds fantastic.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I'll be staying at the Splendor of Autumn tonight. If you wish, meet me in the morning and I would love to chat more about opportunities.
She goes, I may be a little bit busy with, my people. But soon.
That sounds lovely. I'm sure we'll find each other again easily.
Okay. That they end up taking off.
God damn fucking. Okay, can I say this now? Can I add? Can we just add an entanglement to the list where I get to fight this asshole again?
That's. I mean, I'll guarantee he's going to show up
Okay.
a bit more. But yeah, so I'm here in a moment. That's one thing you can do. But I'm going to give some deeds here in a moment. And then this is something like going forward. It'll be something for you guys to keep in mind too, because you can give them.
All right, we can do that to each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, if you guys want to do this, so I think everyone has done something worthy of deeds tonight.
I mostly got my ass
what you-
kicked.
But you also, I rolled that 39 for you. Like we went in, we were like rushing in to get people out.
Mhm.
So with those, what you can do at any point and say, like, so I open, and this is if someone wants to do it. So like with Plum Blossom, we've got the, so looking at the things that you've done, you sort of had the honor improving yourself in the things that you were doing. You've also got the, we'll say benevolence in helping out others.
Mm-hmm.
Like in doing the thing with the sword. So so someone could be like, hey, I'm going to give you a benevolence deed. So with the benevolence deed, and let me just double check because I think I've got this. I think you get 4 because you have 4 benevolence. You get like 4 chivalrous joss.
Damn.
And then because you can have a maximum, I think, of 10 joss total. Again, I'll double check that again here in a minute. And then the person who gives it to you, and I can leave that to one of the other 2 of you, can actually spend those 4, then spend 4 entanglement on either there's like the campaign lore sheet, but then I'll put some other stuff in there as well, or you can do things like if someone wants to sort of buy the one guy in as sort of an enemy, if this was for Orin's character. So on those ones, and you can basically buy into the world, buy into things that are going on, things on those lines. And the person who gives you the deeds is the one who gets to choose how it's spent.
Okay, so one of y'all gets to spend 4 for me.
Yeah, if someone wants to give you a deed for that, which I would suggest, and everyone can kind of go through, and if you want, in this case, give out some deeds, because you can do one per session to each other. First, you get an amount of joss points equal to your score in the corresponding virtues. If you get 4 chivalrous, and then they be able to spend 4 of those entanglement.
Cool.
And it's also possible to, particularly once you've seen a couple of the things, it's possible to literally just make up entanglements pretty much on the fly. And go, I'm going to buy this thing and like this person into it. Seems interesting. We'll put this much and kind of the amount that goes into them. And you can also like save up. It can be, I'm going to put this much towards this specific thing. And occasionally, like you'll notice on the campaign lore sheets, I've got a couple things that'll be like, oh, you could do a thing where it may cost 10. Like say for Pale Orchid. Pale Orchid's got the corrupt uncle is alive, the corrupt uncle is dead. Someone could, if they wanted, say, "Oh, I'm going to put 10 points or put however many points towards one of those." The same thing with like the uncle, and there's other things you can, if you want to come up with. There's other things you can come up with as well. But the campaign lore sheet right now is just character stuff. I will then put in some other things now that you know some of what's happening here in town that you'll be able to spend for later on. But at this point, we can kind of go through and people can give deeds and then decide what they want to add to you for or give you.
I think giving Lone Sparrow some loyalty, just for like, gotta keep that scroll safe, gotta keep the scroll safe, gotta like punch a person who took that scroll from my organization, to the point where he knew he was going to let go if someone didn't stop him. Which I think is what makes it chivalrous.
Yeah, if loyalty is a chivalrous.
Yeah.
Virtue.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would give that to Lone Sparrow. And then, are you okay with that, Xander? With me giving that?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
All right, what should I spend this on? Hey, what's more fun? Somebody might. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because I do have the regular lore sheet that basically introduces other past love life nonsense into this powder keg equation.
Oh well, I have this. There's also some wonderful things on the sheet he made for you. For specifically, if someone who wants to make a go for Eaglehead believes they can get noticed by either messing with you or working with you. I would really love someone, a former love interest, to be messing with him to make a go for Eagle.
I think that there's one for making go of Eagle, and then I think there's a separate category.
Oh, a previous lover of Lone Sparrow needs help. I like that. Let's do that. A previous lover of Lone Sparrow needs help.
And we also would be able to then create other ones as necessary. So you're giving Lone Sparrow the deed?
I'm giving Lone Sparrow the loyalty deed and spending that 4 entanglement on a previous lover of Lone Sparrow needs help.
Okay, so one of the things, Oren, are you on roll 20?
Yeah, disconnect part 2. He just put in the chat.
Oh, okay. So what I can do is, if you want to, I can go ahead and put that in and make a note that he's got, because you do want to keep track of how much entanglement has been spent.
Here.
Oh, Colton's in.
Oren? Oh no, he called.
Nope, this never happened during Unknown Armies.
Oh, and I'm back, I think.
Okay, and it looks like you're in roll 20.
Yeah, I don't think I ever technically leave when it disconnects because it hasn't refreshed. But
so I will. So let's make a note that one has been bought. And if you want to go ahead and put on yours, so it's got the entanglement. Go ahead and add 4 to it.
Okay, so entanglement total spent.
Yeah.
Okay.
But both the total spent and the total. Yeah, you've got an extra 4.
So I had that.
And then that'll be a thing that pops up next session.
4. So it'd be 24/20 because I have 24 total entanglement, but I only spent 20 of it.
No, that 4 just got spent for you. So basically, those will both become 24. You still have that 1 point that's left over from.
Yeah. Interesting.
And also, everyone can give themselves 3 destiny from this session and last session.
Where does destiny go?
I might put it right above, if it's not already a thing there for it, I'd put it right above the entanglement. Or the destiny should be at the very top.
Okay.
Archetype, rank, and then destiny.
Okay.
So
just add 3 to both of those categories.
Well, no, you don't want to add 3 to spent because you haven't spent it yet. Do we need to keep track of? So total can total be our current total?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you need to know how much you've spent for. If you want to make current just your current total.
Yeah.
Maybe just do it
like current spent, right?
Yeah, you need to know how much you've spent because that becomes So if you just want to put like destiny, put current and spent instead of total.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, very cool. So I have 4.
The current would be 3.
If you spent all of your destiny at creation, yes.
Yeah,
Like, I had one
a little
left
more.
over.
Anyway, we did some bullshit, but okay. Time to start the love life game.
Yes,
And
that's
yeah,
my
and
job.
then if you want to make a note, like maybe in that space, because really with the other thing, we don't necessarily need all of the chart and stuff for the external martial arts. The technique stuff is good, but the rest of it's not as necessary because we have a lot of it on the other sheet. But yeah, if you want to make a note that a previous lover is going to need help,
Yep, already put it on there.
you can put that down as entanglement, and then yes, and then you can add 4 to your chivalrous Joss. And I'm going to double check. I believe 10 is the most you can have total of either chivalrous or malicious.
Now I've got 5.
Yeah. Oh, the most you can have is 10 chivalrous and 10 malicious stored. Yeah, so you can store up to 10 of each. Okay. So, the other two, if you want to assign a deed.
Like, would the events of getting those earrings be a display of force?
Not necessarily force.
Because it was like force is like Hold on, I just looked up.
Yeah, I'm going to double check the force.
Measures at your power and skill, not merely destructive power, but mastery over yourself and your abilities.
Yeah, actually, force would work for that.
Skill roll.
I will say, if you choose that, you only have 1 entanglement point to spend on me.
Okay, and the other one is you went and helped the people on fire and stuff with everyone else, or
And calm down a multi-sided conflict in the name of absolute peace for children.
yeah, what is that benevolence as well, or is that yeah, or is that
It could be righteousness too.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would be righteousness. Do you have high righteousness? Is that
They're actually the exact same. They're both 4. My highest one. Oh no, individualism, selfish is my highest one. But benevolence, righteousness are both 4.
I guess benevolence then. I'll just put benevolence.
Which means I get to spend for Pale Orchid, I think.
Oh, you have to choose my entanglement though.
God. Hold on, let me look up the options.
And if there's other things that feel like what about something like this? We can make them up pretty easily too.
Was there an entanglement sheet? Campaign lore sheet, there we go.
Yeah. And if you come up with ideas for your character, like in between stuff or whatever, we can also dump ideas like, oh, this is something I might like. Now, someone might also be like, hey, I want this thing to happen because it'll be hilarious.
So I have 4 to spend, and there's going to be stuff around this. What was it called? The blue.
So the Blue Flame sect of the Falling Leaves Society will end up being important.
Yeah, but what was the name of the place where you were? Like you.
Oh, the Blue Orchid.
Blue Orchid.
The House of the Blue Orchid.
Something.
Yeah, House of the Blue Orchid.
So are you going to be working there more? Is that something you planned on doing?
That's something you can have me do with entanglements, friend. Right? Like, I'm understanding that right? Like, that's the fun.
I guess
I had
so.
been thinking that maybe that display of skill caught like the eye of the old top courtesan of the house.
I totally want to be a rival in the pleasure house.
You want? Oh man.
So like, there's a pleasure house as heard as Plum Blossom, which I'm guessing is. Oh wait.
That's 4. So that would be all the
minus,
entanglement.
-2 if there's a rival.
If you spend 2, if you want to spend it 2, it's maybe a different pleasure house has a.
Oh.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes if it will cause more, if it'll cause more troubles, it's usually lower.
Hilarious.
So for 2 points, you can essentially buy there's another pleasure house knows Plum Blossom, but there's a rival.
So would it be a different pleasure house than the orchid, the Blue Orchid?
I kind of like that idea because then, I mean, one, there might be, because, like, you'll probably get some friends and rivals. At the
Yeah, like, they already have heard of me, so it seems kind of weird to buy the entanglement since they've already heard of me.
Yeah. But another one.
And
But buying.
So you want a rival pleasure house? Great. Uh-huh.
And I guess the other 2 points. Well, you can save points, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of 2 points on the sheet.
Yeah, there are. I'll be like, a caller falls in love. Let's have love everywhere next session.
Thank you. I'm just gonna, for mine, I'm gonna highlight instead of say bot, if that's okay. It's just a little bit easier to tell.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
And I guess if it's my turn, then it'd probably be Benevolence for Pale Orchid after staring down a powerful opponent and making the decision not to pursue them in a lead to their uncle, but rather save innocent people that she is unassociated with.
Cool. So that's 4.
Yeah, I think if we highlight, that's a pretty good. Yeah, that'll make it easy just to skim through and see.
Yeah.
And your benevolence. She has benevolence 4.
If we're making terrible things happen, then I had thought about either like further, because they're probably in this already, but somehow further enrapturing this Red Eagle into the story. Either
Do you
that.
want more opportunities to kick his ass.
And some of them, like, I mean, I'll tell you right now that both the benevolent, the masked person who you don't know the name of yet, and Red Eagle will already. You don't have to buy them in because they're already.
Okay, then.
So yeah, so things are already happening. You don't have, like, I mean, to a degree.
I have a bad idea. If we're going with love, this Red Eagle guy, like, wants to win your affection through battle. Is that more than 4's worth, though?
Oh, God.
Probably. But
that actually might be, like, you could do that for like 2 because that'd be a lot of problems.
could you get the same thing by using the 4 of someone from the Heavenly Sword Alliance who would recognize Pale Orchid as nearby?
Yeah.
Or even... I'm trying to figure out what would cause, like, just the most fun trouble, because it's either that, if just sticking with the love theme, or just activating the someone recognizes the sword, that person is a villain who wants it.
I chose for you, so I think you should choose here.
Yeah, choose me.
I mean, I'm happy to provide input, but it's your choice, I think.
Yeah, provide input. Just fine.
I think I think it'll be very funny if we all have love life stuff. And I don't know if we want to get too much main story piled on right away because we might be juggling too many balls. But I also really like the idea that, like, Pale Orchid was not shy, but like, hey, have you seen this magic cool sword before? And like, so obviously someone just, like, word already traveled. I honestly think they're both pretty good options. I think it just depends on what we're all more interested in seeing. Is dealing with this fucking evil sword, or dealing with, like, this weird faction and a person who's weirdly obsessed with Pale Orchid.
Honestly, I want to see more about this crazy-ass sword, because I want to put out as many opportunities to use it as possible.
That's a great idea. So someone from the Heaven Sword Alliance who would recognize Pale Orchid is nearby?
Or a villain, like, someone's heard the
Yeah,
sword
the
is
villain
near,
who-
villain fucking...
Yeah, the villain who wants the sword for its true evil purposes arrives.
Yeah!
Great.
This is already a powder keg. Let's make it even more fun. Yeah, I'm doing that. Let's go for that.
That sounds great.
I really like this part of this game a lot.
Yeah, it's a really cool feature.
I just kind of realized, I've used it before, I mean, I've run the game before, but I also just kind of realized it's essentially the way Apocalypse World is, like, be a fan of the players. It mechanizes players being fans of each other.
Yes!
It's really dope.
Yeah. And that's, like, the thing that really fosters a good table, is when everyone's a fan of everyone else's play characters.
Because why I like the space buck system from other things. This is a good system too. I will have to adopt this into other things.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, the lore sheet stuff is just... It's one of those things I wish other places would...
I'm going to steal this from my Magical Girls campaign, because every character has like a shit ton of magical backstory to unlock over time.
Nice.
So I'm going to treat them as mystery boxes.
Well, cool.
Okay, players, pick who did the best, and they get to open a mystery box, which may screw all of you. Yay!
So, is there any like end of session mechanical stuff with chi? I'm trying to remember.
No, not with chi stuff. I mean, basically, it's
There's
just
the highlighter.
you get the destiny at the end.
Oh, and make sure you add your spent entanglement to your character sheet.
Yeah, it's probably best with both of those. What's your current entanglement? What's your spent? We'll make that. I don't know why I originally said maybe do it the other way.
All right, current 0 because we spent it all. So 19 entanglement spent. And then what are some of the thresholds we need to keep in mind for advancing in anything?
Okay, so where's the advancement in rank comes when, where is it? Yeah, when you have 50 points of cultivation, and cultivation comes from putting destiny in your martial arts, into the secret arts of your particular class. And also, like in lore sheet, anything that sort of helps with those gives you cultivation.
I can buy more bullshit.
Oh, so I got
Yeah.
cultivation through having stuff on my lore sheet, so I should add 4 to my cultivation?
No. It's just lore sheets that directly affect your martial arts.
Oh, just martial arts lore sheets.
Yeah, so if you have a lore sheet that's like, oh, this thing allows you to use this special ability with your martial arts, that will count for it. Like that it's all about, essentially, if it adds directly to your martial arts, you get to spend it twice for that. If it's your secret art, you get to spend it for that. It goes into cultivation for that as well, and those all get spent for free on chi.
Okay.
And then, so you need 50 points of cultivation and 50 points of entanglement. Oh yeah, I guess in that case, we don't necessarily have to keep track of destiny, except the ones you haven't spent. But we do need to keep track of entanglement and cultivation. So once you've reached 50 points of both of those, you go up a rank.
Okay.
Cool. I gotta get moving if I want to catch the finale.
Yeah,
so.
go ahead.
No worries.
See you guys.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Can I just quickly ask a question?
Yeah.
There's no way to earn flat destiny, right? You can only earn entanglements and cultivation from now on, right?
No, you get 3 destiny at the end of, like, from last week's, which was pretty much just a little combat, in this one, you each gain 3 destiny from that.
So we just have a flat 3 destiny that we can put into anything we want.
Yes, and then those can go into anything, and then like you can get up to 5 destiny in a session, but that's like major huge things happen. But you'll usually be about 2 or 3 a session, and then let me double check the secret arts because I don't think. Wait, is the disadvantages those give you extra destiny or extra entanglement? No, disadvantages give you destiny.
They can, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I really fucking need to take a disadvantage. I want to get on the love train. Can I have a love disadvantage?
Like someone who, if you can come up with like
A unique one,
a love,
not a
like,
foreign one.
just something about you that will cause problems in your life because of love or because of something else. So usually disadvantages have to do with like personality traits or things that will sort of set other people off.
And
Entanglement, cultivation.
yeah. So we currently have 3 destiny. Oh yeah, and we said we should have 2 conditions.
Yeah. So with chi conditions, you like right, and that will not count. The one that you got this time
Doesn't
will not count for
okay.
that. Everyone can kind of have chi conditions equal to how many ranks they've earned. You've earned 2 ranks essentially, because you start at rank 4. They use both ranks for both. It's confusing. So everyone can have 2 chi. Like I'll let you know that like Colton, you'll appreciate this. For like, so when I created like these 3 characters you ran into today are 3 of the 4 that'll be kind of major ones on sort of the main plot. But like, one thing I gave for the benevolent Lynn, but they often just call it the benevolent, One of her chi conditions, a flirtatious warrior. She has a minor breath hyperactivity when she uses innuendo.
Oh my god!
And then I also gave her the mini lessons of the observant sage. She gets a major action bonus when recognizing opponent's form and quote unquote teaching them during battle.
Incredible. Maybe I should get something about battle, because my two overlap a little bit. Because it's when the pursuit of my passionate arts gets me in causes trouble, gain +1 cultivation, and then when I meddle in other people's love lives, which those two might overlap a little bit too much.
Yeah, those are probably a little too.
Yeah, I like the pursuit of my passionate arts gets me in trouble. I like that one more than the meddling in love lives. I think maybe when I flirt with someone, when I flirt with an opponent, when I flirt with someone I'm in battle with. Maybe.
Yeah, so for that one, do you want like a breath bonus to basically get more chi? Do you want an action bonus where you are basically you get like a plus?
I think it would be fun to have entanglement, because like it's like getting close to someone I should be creating distance from through battle.
Okay, yeah. So make a note. You can come up with a name for it, but essentially give yourself a minor. It'll be a minor entanglement hyperactivity.
Minor entanglement.
Which what it means is, I mean, the hyperactivity is the bonus essentially, but what it means is, now when it's minor, you can just get sort of 1 per session. If you get it up to a major, you can get up to 3.
And then when the pursuit of my passionate arts gets me in trouble, gain +1 cultivation. That's a minor hyperactivity as well.
Yep.
Okay, minor cultivation, hyperactivity. I'm only thinking of obscure references for naming the entanglement hyperactivity. Like, God, 3rd week in a row I'm talking about it. I'm sorry, but heaven will be mine. There's literally a line in one of the endings. It's like, let's fight about it. Let's make out about it. Like, that's
about that.
Uh-huh.
I spoke. So there's a group of people that I play Monster Prom with a lot, and we like playing through story stuff. And I was